It's time for Mac Break Weekly. Great panel for you. Of course, Rene Ritchie's here, Andy Ihnatko. Kelly Guimont from the Mac Observer joins us. We'll be talking about Apple's quarterly results. They're coming out tomorrow. Should be the best quarter ever for Apple. At least that's what the stock market thinks. A new watch to celebrate Black History Month, and a big change upstairs in the executive at Apple. What does that mean for future products? We have a great discussion all coming up next on Mac Break Weekly. Our annual Twit survey's going strong, but there's only a week or two left. We don't want to miss your feedback. So here's what you do. Go to twit.tv/survey21 and take it now before it closes next week. The survey helps us understand our audience so we can make your listening experience even better. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes, and you can skip any questions you don't want to answer. That's fine. Just go to twit.tv/survey21, and thanks in advance.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Mac Break Weekly, episode 750, recorded Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. Born and Braised. This episode of Mac Break Weekly is brought to you by Amazon Pharmacy. Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/twitrx. And by CashFly. Give your users the seamless online experience they want. Power your site or app with CashFly's CDN and be 30% faster than the competition. Learn more at twit.cashfly.com. It's time for Mac Break Weekly, the show where we cover the latest Apple news. News from Apple. In this case, there's one news story and about 12 rumors, but that's okay. That's part of the fun, isn't it, Andy?
There's multiple news stories.
Yes, because some of the rumors are really good rumors.
Yeah,
and so
some of the news stories are really socially important.
Yes, as I've always said, it's great. It's not great in terms of hard news, but it's good in that we can say whatever we want and not technically be wrong. So that's fine.
There you go.
Also, happy sesquicentenary of Mac Break Weekly.
This is the sesquicentenary.
Sesquicentenary. There is some argument over what it.
Don't tell me. Our 150th year in showbiz. No, 15th.
No, 750th episode.
700
sesquicentenary. So
cinque would be Italian, isn't it?
Well, see, I was looking this up and trying to find out like what the official word is, because I figure like in England things are actually that old, so they must have come up with it. So, but there's no consensus on what a 750. You have to piece it together from. Okay, here's what the 500th would be. So here is what half. So it would be half of a 500th plus a 500th. And at some point I gave up. And simply,
joint.
Here is the
750 joint.
Here is the, there are a lot of these. This is from Wikipedia. You got your annual, your biennial, your triennial. It's going to take me a while to get to 750. But when we're talking years, you're right. There's nothing between septennial and octocentenary. So we need a little something in between for 750.
We'll come up with it for Queen Elizabeth pretty soon.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Sasquatch Centennial?
So that's what it is. It's ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, Rene Ritchie. But hi, Rene. YouTube.com/Rene Ritchie. Andy Ihnatko, WGBH. But we got to say hi to Kelly Guimont, who hasn't been on in 170 years. This is her sexcentenary septennial. No, I don't know. It's been a while, but it's great to see you, Kelly.
Hi, it's nice to be here again.
What are you up to these days?
Not a lot.
That's like the rest of us. Yeah, we're staying home. Yep.
Staying home real hard.
Yep.
That's most of it.
Yep. Watching a lot of TV. That's my screen. There's Kelly. You got your T-Mobile thing you do, the what is it, TMO?
Daily Observations, the Daily Observations podcast. So every weekday we talk about the news of the day or some tips. And on Fridays we do Security Friday and talk about this week in data breaches and what Facebook's up to that you should be suspicious about.
Data breaches.
And a practical tip.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's the Mac Observer, not T-Mobile. But that must happen a lot.
Breaches or breaches?
Yes.
Breaches or breaches?
Breaches. The breaches of the day or the britches of the day. It's up to you. The nice thing is...
Breaches of the day is a different podcast.
That's a different show entirely.
it is.
And even though Westworld is in between seasons, if you want to go back and figure out what the hell happened last season, Westworld Rewind is also a great show. Hi, Kelly. Welcome back to the microphones. It's going to be fun, actually, because, Lori Gill, as everybody knows, but if you didn't know, had kind of two big transitions. She got married, but even more importantly, she started working for Apple.
Or vice versa.
Or maybe it should be the other way around. But anyway, so because she's working for Apple, she's not on the show anymore, which means we have an empty seat, which I'm going to take advantage of, and we're going to rotate some of our favorite people into that seat. So it's really nice to see you, Kelly. We miss you.
That's why it's such great. It's great to have Kelly Gamont on again. Yeah. Because it's like I miss her. Whenever I would guest host, it would be like, okay, there are 3 people that I would like to invite. 2 of them are Beyonce and Meryl Streep. Definite no's from them. 3rd would be guest. So
yeah, we're still working on Beyonce. I think that I'm not going to give up.
It's a no until it's a yes.
She's got a new song, put an Apple Watch on it, and it might, that might actually be the trigger for her to appear.
As soon as she launches an app, we're in, because her publicists, they'll have no idea how to navigate the app community. They'll think that we're a big time outlet.
No clue. Yeah.
That's what we need. Somebody who has no clue, so they think we're a big time outlet. I want to thank both of you for the soft sell. Big changes at Apple.
Excuse me, Renee. Hello, Renee. Sorry.
Did you want to say something?
We got so excited. We didn't give him a formal introduction.
I said hello to Renee.
We gave him a very YouTube channel.
We gave him a very quick introduction because I was so anxious to jump to Kelly. Yes. No, I did introduce Renee, but it was so quick you missed it.
We had a fun start to this episode. I'm just buckling in.
Buckle in. I almost said buckle something else.
I don't want you to Riccio, Emilio.
Yeah, no. So let's talk about Riccio, because really that's the news. That's one story, and that is now Renee, fill me in. Who is Dan Riccio? Why is he important?
Okay, so once upon a time, Big Bob Mansfield ran hardware at Apple, and he began running mostly hardware engineering, but then also got a group called the Hardware Technologies Group that did antennas and chipsets. He decided to retire to spend more time with his family and all of their money, and so he gave his organization to Dan Riccio, who had been vice president of iPad engineering. So Dan became the new vice president of hardware engineering, but along came Johnny Cerrugi, who took on Platform Technologies and built that into the silicon powerhouse that it is today. And like all of Apple's senior vice presidents, they have way too much on their plates. So Dan was running hardware, and every special project at Apple has to have a senior vice president who leads it, like Jeff Williams leads the Apple Watch. So Dan was leading Titan, and it was a lot. So Bob Mansfield came back to lead that, and Dan was spending most of his time on the iPhone, but also the iPad, the Mac, of course, but the VR projects. It sounds like
worse than
this is too much now too.
Game of Thrones season 8.
It really is.
Can I suggest this is more like Korean soap opera on Netflix?
Holy cow!
This is good stuff.
So Riccio, who was senior vice president of hardware engineering, but not for long, like for a cup of coffee, right? I mean, Bob Mansfield only
for a very long time.
Oh, for a very long time.
Oh, because Bob came back to take just the Titan part.
Oh, okay.
Dan was still doing
that's
iPhone,
the only reason
iPad,
Bob came back, if I'm not
Bob had
mistaken,
retired or was moving in that direction. Yeah.
He was building that castle in the outskirts of California.
So Mansfield running Titan, the car project, but he's left, right? Is that right? He's
left again, and they've given it to John Gianandrea this time.
Gianandrea has it. Of course, the guy who came over from Google, the AI expert. It actually makes sense. That's a pretty prestigious person. Sounds like Titan's a pretty important project.
Yeah.
Riccio, who was senior vice president of hardware and engineering, begins a new chapter. But Apple was pretty cagey. They didn't say in what book. So we don't know. He's 57. He's probably too young to be retiring at this point. And there's been a lot of speculation. I think I'm going to go with John Gruber because, well, he's John Gruber, and he probably has some good sources. He says, I still don't know what project Riccio's heading. My guess is it's not the car project. Who's heading Titan now? Gianandrea. Yeah, you don't take Gianandrea off of that.
Andrea.
No, he just got it like last month. So
Yeah,
you're definitely not.
It's definitely. So I think that's more than a
yeah.
guess. That's pretty seriously reasonable. He's saying the headset, the AR, VR thing that Apple's been, kind of
Which
secretly.
Dan already runs, so it's super convenient. Not what is it? That's super easy, not barely an inconvenience for him to keep running that as a dedicated project.
But is that a step down if you're in charge of all hardware engineering and now you're just doing one thing?
He was getting help from
what does he
John
want
Turnus.
to be doing? I mean, there's that too, right? Like maybe this project is finally at a point where that's where all his bandwidth needs to be going anyway.
Riccio's been in Apple since 98, 22 years. He was on the product design team, which of course at Apple is a really kind of critical part of the enterprise. He became vice president of iPad hardware engineering in 2010. In 2012, he joined the executive team. So he's been doing this for 8 years, almost 9 years, leading hardware engineering.
And he did what almost nobody else in the world's been able to do, and that is ship iPhones every year, each year, year after year, which is probably the hardest job in consumer electronics right now.
Yeah.
So tell us about his replacement, John Turnus.
John Turnus, who is not the guy who used to play Marilyn's husband on Grey's Anatomy. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. He looks exactly like him.
He's not McDreamy.
Okay.
He started off in Dan Riccio's org, and he's been the one who's sort of like Dan Riccio's lieutenant, who's been taking more and more of the things off Dan's plate as Dan is focused more on iPhone and more on special projects like the AR and VR headset. He debuted the new redesigned iPad Pro in 2018, the redesigned Mac Pro. He's been driving
pretty
that
good.
in 2019.
Oh, okay.
The Pro Workflows team, which I love, that's all the Pixar and ILM and production engineers report into him, so they hit Pro problems and Pro annoyances before we have to anymore. And now he's been working on the iPhone, I think, most recently as well.
So it sounds like a good person to take over hardware engineering. Yeah. Guess where he came from? Apple's product design team.
Yeah.
He sense a pattern.
Yeah,
they're just short of 20 years, which is it. The things that were mostly on my mind about this is that if Apple has the only real management problem that Apple seems to have is that people just they decide to end their careers at Apple, which means that if you've been there for 10 or 15 years and you're thinking that, oh, well, geez, well, maybe if I stick it out for another 5, one day I will be like one of the holy 10 or whatever. The thing is, the people, whoever it is job that you want, they're not leaving. So one of the factors of this, I was wondering if it was partly so we can basically move up John and give him some more runway, while also really giving some boost to a project that maybe needs a bit of some fairy dust in order to make it move forward. It's a way to keep on board somebody who's been incredibly valuable, also move up someone into a position that will probably be with Apple for the next 10 years, and again finish out his career at Apple as well. There are a lot of rumors that I was reading about as people were speculating that oh, well, they must be moving him up because, now he's responsible directly to the CEO with no specific responsibilities. Oh, okay, they must be pushing him out. But that's what's true on other companies. That happened at Google a couple of times. Apple is its own special entity, and none of the usual rules of management apply. So I have no doubt that the basic statement being made by Apple is absolutely true. And although it's an easy guess that it's going to be VR and wearables as a huge category, it also, I have to say that my first thought was, oh, what has not been leaked to the press yet, or what has nobody guessed yet? And it's like, what is exactly?
That was me too. Was new and like working on something new and exciting, I think was what he said. And or like in the official statement anyway. And like the way it was phrased sort of made me wonder too. So when we talked about it this morning on Daily Observations, that was my thought, was like, how is this going to change the rumors that we get and like the landscape of what people are mumbling about that Apple's sure to be up to next? And it's going to be whatever he's in charge of now.
Is it the consensus at the Mac Observer that that's what he's going to be doing is the glasses?
It is not. Charlotte still thinks it might be the car. Brian enthusiastically disagreed with her this morning.
You're crazy. Well, especially since Gianandrea is so prestigious and so recently anointed.
Yes.
It seems odd that they would replace him at this point.
Yeah, like this, he hasn't even like warmed up the seat yet. So it seems really unlikely. But Yeah, my.
By the way,
my
here is a new
stance
rumor that the Apple
something
car will have seat warmers. I just heard that. That's how these rumors start, Kelly.
Why not?
John sits in every car to warm them up for you.
Oh, I know. See, this is why I know I could never be trusted. Like, I will never get a job at Apple because I would be the person that goes and puts like a 9-inch iPhone in the iTunes string so that somebody goes and loses their mind about it. Or, you know, macOS 12 and all the laptops are 12 inches now, you know, and like bury that 9 layers deep in programming so somebody digs it up and loses their mind. Like, that's what I would do.
Me
at
too.
Apple, and that's why I'll never get to sit
knowing that people are parsing the source code, and you kind of said this one's for Steve Troughton Smith.
Mark Gurman's going to be like, but I took a look at Kelly Gamont's Spotify, and it turns out most of the things she's been adding to her library are things that would sound great inside a compact car, but not inside an SUV.
Okay.
You can read a lot from like the tone of the press releases too, though, because when you look at how the Scott Forstall and John Browett press release was compared to like the Angela Ahrendts press release, compared to the Phil Schiller and Dan Riccio press releases, this sounds much more like you have someone as talented as Jaws or as John Turnus, and you want to give them room to grow, but you don't want to lose a super talented veterans in Dan Riccio or Phil Schiller. So Phil Schiller gets App Store, and he gets a couple other things and events, and Dan Riccio gets AR, VR, or whatever that is, and you keep all these talented people super happy while removing some of the enormous buffet-style portions on their plates at the same time.
Yeah.
Phil Schiller's like at large now, isn't he?
He's a senior
like,
fellow.
Sort of.
Means he doesn't do anything.
Fellow,
Apple fellow.
Which means he works
events and
on
he does,
precisely what he wants to and nothing else.
He has
right?
lunch on the roof every day. And
those events were good, though. I mean, looking back, he did a really good job on those end of year events.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic.
I honestly think
we were really impressed with them. Like, watching them was great. They were super efficient because we didn't have to wait for everyone in the theater to applaud. So everybody got in and out like before your watch told you to stand up. Yeah.
I think it's the future of Apple events. I hope it is the future of Apple events.
Me too.
I have to say, though, this is a problem particularly unique to Apple, as you kind of intimated. All these guys don't need the money at this point. Nobody does. Apple stock, in fact, Apple stock, we'll talk about this in a second because Wednesday we're going to get their fourth quarter earnings. And already in advance of that, you know, you buy on the rumors, sell on the news. Apple stock was the highest on Friday it's ever been.
And they didn't pay so great to begin with, Leo. Like, I mean, a lot of people who go to Apple, they don't go there for the money because Facebook and startups are more than eager to outbid Apple. You go there because you believe, you drink the Kool-Aid, and you want to change the world. Yeah, you want to dent the universe.
Yeah, that's how Steve Jobs famously got John Scully to join. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life or change the world?
Do you want to change the world?
Tim Cook and Phil Schiller worked out better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just quickly, think about all the senior executives in the automotive industry that they talked into leaving huge careers to become part of a Phantom project. So. Yeah.
But money does have something to do with
of
it.
Burberry.
I mean,
she came to be a vice president.
Yeah, that's right. She went from a CEO job to a VP. But money has to. You have to. You don't. It's not the primary rationale. But nobody is gonna go to Apple or leave Apple over money.
No, that's never why.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I think they're all in great shape financially. I would assume
rent in the Bay Area.
For sure.
That they can do whatever they want. And so that must be an interesting situation where you've got these executives, you've got a huge amount of institutional knowledge up here in their brains. You don't want to lose them. But you want to keep them challenged, and they have no financial handcuffs. So that's what I see in this press release. We needed to keep Riccio engaged, so we gave him something interesting.
Yeah,
like Johnny did with Apple Park and Apple Retail, and they gave him a car with umbrella ejectors to drive him back and forth every day.
I could see the meeting.
Producing, Johnny.
I could see Riccio going into Tim Cook's office, sitting down, and say, Tim, I got to talk to you, and saying, I'm bored. Look, I'm 57. I figure I'm going to retire in about 8 years. I have one big project left in me. I would like to do X, right? You think he probably said, I would like to do this. Give me this.
Which happens because they have people who even left Apple. Like after the iPhone, the iPhone was come here and build the future. And then after that, you have a bunch of people whose only desire is to build the future. They don't want to maintain anything. They don't want to go back and work on the Mac. That was the previous future. They want the next new thing. And they got back a ton of people for Titan. They're getting back a ton of people for the AR VR thing that just want to work on whatever the next big thing is.
So it helps that the stock price is through the roof, but it doesn't. That's not the motivation. And I have to say, if I'm Tim Cook sitting across the desk, if he has a desk, from this face, I'm going, yeah, whatever you want, Dan. What do you want? I give you anything. Don't hit me. He's scary looking.
Can I mention another thing that at some point, remember that Steve Jobs picked Tim Cook because he knew that at some point he was not going to be CEO of Apple anymore through natural causes or unnatural causes. At some point, Tim Cook knows that he's going to have to name somebody is going to have to be CEO. So they have to have a lot of people in those lanes that are being groomed towards a position where they could one day take over the entire company. So this is another factor when it comes to, we don't just want to hold on to this person because they're smart and they're valuable and because their knowledge would be too valuable to an enemy. A lot of it is that we need to have 2 or 3 people who not only are just good business people, not only are good engineers and designers, but people who grew up inside the unique culture of Apple. And so it's not just, we want to make sure we maintain the stock price. We want to make sure we maintain our company's dominance. There is a culture and there is a character at Apple that has to be maintained more important than anything else. So we have to find these people. We have to take these people who have these 20 years worth of experience that are part of the culture, that have been born and braised, and I was going to say born and braised. There's probably something similar to that with corporate infighting, but that's also part of it too.
Gently in Apple culture for many years.
We've been basted in Intel for way too long. Now it's time we're about to dry out here. We got to pull this out of the oven.
This is going to end up being another one of those moves that like is very standard for Apple, right? Like, we're going to get a few years down the road and we're going to look back and go, oh, that thing that didn't make sense when they did it. And we all kind of sat around and went, like that makes total sense now that we know what we know in 2025 or whatever. Like, this is like, just like when we get, weird features or removal of features or new functionality in an operating system, and then like 2 operating systems down the road, oh, that thing they did 2 times ago makes perfect sense now. So this is the same sort of thing, just with Apple leadership and not with user interface.
So, all right, now we move on to, if it is glasses, what do we know about Apple's glasses? Their ambition, we've heard rumors in the past that they might have a VR headset this year, but the true AR glasses next year. Kelly, what do you think? What's going on?
I don't know I'm not convinced about the timeline from anybody, first of all. I think the glasses are going to be really complicated because we've seen 2 iterations of glasses from other companies fail for loads of reasons, whether it was expense or reliability, or they were just sort of awkward to use, or it made people feel weird about, like, I know that your glasses are looking at me separately from your eyeballs looking at me.
People would wear a Google Glass into a bar and get beat up. Yeah.
So I think until they can get over like that, that piece of it, I don't know what it is that Apple's going to bring to this that's going to make it any more appealing to the same people who went, well, like the Snapchat glasses are very weird looking and they're all bright yellow and like nobody wants to wear them. And the Google Glass ones were like, super obvious, looking like Google Glass and not just sort of regular glasses from people. And how they're going to get around that, like, I don't want your glasses recording me, if I don't know about it already or whatever.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I think these look
awesome.
These look completely normal.
Is that Leon Redbone that's taking over the host of the show? I approve. Let me get my banjo.
But my ukulele's in the other room.
So, but that's, Kelly, isn't that exactly what Apple's so good at, is taking a product? Think about the iPod. It was preceded by a lot of kind of not so great MP3 players. Yeah, right. The Diamond Rio, the Sansa, there was that car head unit that was like had a hard drive in it. That's exactly what the product category Apple likes to be in, right?
Are those snapcicles you're wearing,
the
Leo?
thing is, like, I'm not sure how they're gonna crack it. Is the thing. Like, I have no doubt that they could. If anybody could, it's gonna be Apple. It wasn't Snapchat. I don't think it was Google. So
definitely wasn't Google.
That they could.
How about Oculus? How about Facebook with the Oculus?
Well, I mean,
privacy
you can't really wear
toxic
that
right
to
now.
a bar, can you?
No, that's what the rumor is. That, by the way, did you call these my snapticles?
Yeah,
Okay.
They're the snap spectacles, right?
Yeah, but I think I never heard them called the snapticles. But I think that might actually be a good name for it. This is the first generation. This is not the current generation.
Are you snapping us right? Did you just snap Andy?
I'm snapping
Are you snapping us right now?
Right now, I'm snapping you. Yeah. So these are the opposite of, I think, what Apple is. The rumors are Apple would do. These are all about cameras, and the rumor is Apple's won't have a camera at all. Right, Kelly? Isn't that right?
LiDAR.
That's what I've seen, and like that takes the whole awkwardness of wearing them like away from the people around you. Like, remember having people around you?
Yeah, right
like
now I don't need augmented reality glasses. I know where my sofa is in my living room. I don't.
Right, and like I think if there's no camera, I think that helps solve a lot of the problem that people who didn't wear them had with people who did.
That's right. I agree.
So
but it also takes away a lot of.
To see where that goes.
It also takes away a lot of functionality, right?
Maybe, but maybe not. Like, I don't know. Maybe part of the LiDAR stuff is like LiDAR is partly echolocation, I think. Like, it's not all like using the camera lens to do things. It's like laser and echolocation stuff. And so if it's doing that, like, there's no need for a camera.
You could make a 3D image of the world around you.
Yeah.
And our Apple tags will tell them who we are, Leo. They don't need to see us. It'll just say DDD. Like, it'll be like Daredevil, radar sense, and then it'll detect a person there, and her Apple tag will say Kelly. So I'll be fine.
So I could upload a 3D image of Kelly to my Instagram, but not a picture.
No, you can't do it.
No, I don't think any. I think there's going to be like data security around any of that, so you couldn't. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, if there's no camera, how they're going to get around some of that functionality. And it's also possible, like, we've seen a lot of advances from Apple with regards to accessibility and what things look like, and recognizing that there are people in the world who aren't within what are like the standard usage guidelines for Apple software and Apple hardware. And so maybe this is just going to be a huge push for people who need visual assistance could wear these and be able to get around a lot more easily. And it might be something along those lines. Like, we know that they're going huge into health and well-being and, tracking different statistics like, heart rate and how well did you sleep and stuff like that. And so this could just be another piece, like slightly with a health angle that maybe, complements the watch in some way.
Andy, do you think augmented VR, what do you think? Do you go along with the proposed timeline by the rumor mill that it'll be VR this year, AR next year? Does that make sense?
I don't know about the actual timeline of when we can expect these things, but I definitely agree with the idea of if Apple is really serious about this, the only thing they could do right now is virtual reality. And they're very, very very well posed to do virtual reality in a way that would make people want to buy a VR headset in the same way that they would want to buy a $500 or $600 game console, or more as likely the way that a company would want to buy these things in the hundreds for training. The problem with augmented reality is that I'm not aware right now of any display technology that could give us augmented reality the way that we keep imagining it to be, where I'm wearing these glasses. They are somewhere on the spectrum from Andy Ihnatko to all the way up to Roy Orbison, meaning they're wearable. They don't distract from how people react to me. And they will still be able to, they will give me the thing where if I'm walking around, it is adding things to my field of view and enhancing and annotating things. I'm not aware of any display technology that would work that way unless you wind up with a Magic Leap sort of situation where you have thick goggles and some sort of tether to a pod that's on your belt. So I do like the idea of Apple starting off by taking a lot of the functionality that they've been putting into the iPhone, particularly with its APIs and also with its artificial intelligence research, and putting that into something where they don't really have to worry about, well, what if it is too heavy to wear for 8 hours a day? Well, can we do it for 2 hours? That's fine. What if the battery can't last more than an hour and a half? Well, that's fine too. What if it does make you look like Lobot plus Geordie LaForge? We can do that too. Those are things that are attainable. Because when you talk about self-driving car, at least the basic technology is there. We can make it work. It just is not going to work perfectly at this point. With augmented reality, again, within the context of a wearable thing that people will want to wear, I don't know of a display technology right now that can make that happen. Again, maybe I'm uninformed. Maybe Apple has patents that things that they don't even dare patent at this point. But that's how I feel about it. And I agree with what Kelly said earlier, that I don't think that they would be doing it this year, or maybe next year. But I'd be interested in the year after that.
There's a certain amount of kind of people trust that Apple has some magic under the hood that we don't know about. And that's just kind of the
patience.
Presumed, but it's not necessarily the case. Let me read to you what Mark Gurman said on Thursday in Bloomberg. Apple's first crack at a headset is designed to be a pricey, niche precursor to a more ambitious augmented reality product that will take longer to develop, according to people with knowledge of the matter. Mark usually has pretty good inside sources.
Those people.
Yeah, people. He knows people. The initial device has confronted several development hurdles. The company has conservative sales expectations. He says it's mostly virtual reality. He says 2022, not this year, but next year. But it will display an all-encompassing 3D digital environment for gaming, watching video, and communicating. I think this is going to be that's a tough nut to crack, because Facebook's really there already, especially with the Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, but you know what you get with Oculus? You get Facebook.
Yeah, and I think that was a strategic blunder by Facebook that has kept me from buying a Quest.
That's why I don't have one.
Me too.
Yeah. That is really a self-inflicted wound. I don't really get what Facebook's doing.
I had the
with
Quest
that.
1. I was all ready to buy the Quest 2, and then they started. Every time they say, we swear we're never going to conflate Facebook IDs with the company we just bought, and every time they do it, so I can only blame myself at this point and vote with my wallet. And I said no.
I think they're starting to realize it, because there seems to be a mass exodus from WhatsApp for that very reason.
Yeah. And they reacted fast. They always say we never react quickly. We always wait. They reacted so fast to WhatsApp.
Yeah, they put off that privacy change that would merge WhatsApp's information with Facebook.
We misunderstood. We were confused about what they were saying.
You
It
didn't
wasn't
know what
them.
we were doing.
Yeah, you didn't understand.
We're going to wait till April to confirm that. And what they'll do is wait till the news cycle moves on, and then they're going to go. But it's interesting, because Facebook has there's been a lot of delete Facebook movements. Several of which I've participated in. But that's never wounded Facebook in any appreciable way. I have to think maybe, 20 million people leaving WhatsApp is not insignificant. And I think that's the ballpark figure.
Telegram says thank you.
Yeah. So Signal, we have heard, had something like 10 million new subscribers, but they're hoping to get to 100 million, and they're much farther along than they were because of WhatsApp. We don't know how many new users Telegram has, but I would guess it's quite a few. I'm starting to hear from non-tech people saying, because I've been on Telegram for years, saying, I'm going to use Telegram
rumors
now.
It's a stupefying number of new users, like a ridiculous, beyond any expectation number
Give
of
or
new
take.
users.
Well, and so that's not happened before to Facebook. So that's got to sting a little bit. So in any event, to get back to this AR thing, I mean, obviously Apple is going to require an Apple account with their VR, but that's not as punishing as a Facebook account.
The really interesting part of this, though, is that it ties into the rumors of the new Apple TV that they've been holding back on for a little while now.
Oh,
where there was like a conservative model that was just an A12 X processor, but a more ambitious model that was going to be higher end gaming, and that Apple might even start investing in studios beyond Apple Arcade to make it really a first-rate gaming experience.
Are you saying the TV would be
a
base unit for the headset?
The service would be cross-device, and the helmet would be like the premier way of experiencing it. And you could also play on your TV and your iPhone and your iPad, of course.
Pretty much guarantee Apple will not call it a helmet.
Plus on the head.
They'll somehow make a deal with Disney, and they'll call it the Lobot, right? Because it'll go around the back of your head with all the batteries and stuff. So you can.
The original Apple TV was called the Lobot.
Oh, really?
History there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
it was a lobotomized Mac.
That's why I went there.
Really? Oh, see, you guys are way ahead of me. You got that inside. Are you twins? Are you doing twin talk now?
We travel in
that was just
circles.
a bonus. It's also a bonus Star Wars reference. Hi. So, the other piece of it, though, I think, is that we keep talking about the Apple TV. Like, someday we're gonna get a new one. Like, someday, Apple keeps sort of trying to be a little bit, at least partly, a gaming company, and we're not getting enough out of them for the most part to really feel like they're taking that completely seriously. So, having the gaming part be a serious component in why the Apple TV the new iteration of the Apple TV hasn't been released yet makes a lot of sense. So I hope that that's true and that we do get something great in gaming from Apple TV, because I think there are a lot of people like me who don't want to put the money down on like a PlayStation or an Xbox. Like, I'm not a hundreds and hundreds of dollars to pay for it gamer. I'm like I'll pay $5 a month to Apple gamer,
right? And
maybe buy $100 box and not a $500 box. So
Gurman,
there are a lot of people who would do that.
Gurman says that this first headset will be more expensive than those from rivals, and of course the Quest 2 starts at what, $250, $300?
They'll be the Airpods Max of VR headsets.
Some Apple insiders, I'm quoting again Mark Gurman, believe the company may sell only one headset per day per retail store. So that's nothing to write home.
That's not very Apple. That's one of the things that got me thinking. I don't know if they would do it that way.
They just want to get the technology out. It's super expensive. They want to make sure that
that's less than a hobby.
Ricci, everybody.
What are you doing?
Either Cyclops or Jordy LaForge.
He's wearing. I get it. Those are the AirPods Pro Max, and you're looking through the headband.
More expensive than I think an Oculus Quest.
Yeah. Why don't
these just go on your ears?
Hey, wait a minute.
Cover your eyes.
Let's conflate two big rumors. We talked about it last week. The rumor that you'll be able to replace the headband. What if you could replace the headband with Jordy Forge glasses
with a visor
that drops down when necessary? Yeah.
A ruby visor.
Oh, there it is.
Now, the clamping force on your head is going to be kind of intense, but there are a lot of Apple fans who will go for that.
It'll keep your head smaller, Andy. I need that.
Yeah, keep you from getting a swelled head from being an Apple user, which would be an impossibility.
But your ears are holding it wrong.
Yes.
Well, can you just imagine doing Fitness Plus and having your rings close in 3D on your visor as you just keep, trucking along?
I feel like Fitness Plus in the helmet would be terrifying.
One thing that I wanted to bring in, though, you think about Apple doing a VR headset and a headset that creates virtual reality experiences. That's very, very prudent. That's very, very good. One thing with Apple, though, is that you wonder if they're also working on a piece of hardware for generating that kind of VR environment, not just software, not just APIs, but what if they are working on a VR camera, so that not a 3D iPhone camera, but something that will allow producers and then consumers to capture augmented reality experiences and deliver them, even if they were even if they were to start really, really small and when they're create a road kit that they could bring to events, that they could bring to concerts, that they could bring to speeches and things like that, and capture that sort of stuff so that they can create a new channel on Apple VR Plus, so to speak. There's a lot that Apple has the firepower to accomplish whatever they want to do, and this is why we can spend an hour talking non-BS wise about possibilities of unannounced products.
Okay, wait. So Andy, the thing that you just said gave me an idea. What if part of the LiDAR 3D mapping of what the goggles or the Lobot that we are talking about, the technology that makes that possible, in a real space, to know not to walk into a wall or walk down the stairs or whatever, that's the same technology you would need in an automobile. So if they're making this for the helmet, you could scale that up to an auto, and then it's the same principle of keep you from crashing into stuff, keep you from harm, by walking off the edge of something, walking into a wall, whatever. You would need all of those same things if you were designing something that required the ability to navigate without assistance.
Yeah.
You would need the same thing. So I wonder if maybe there's some overlap between our first story and our second story.
I certainly think that Apple's never been a company of individual divisions that are sort of like sub companies making their own independent products. They are all building every person who works at Apple on every project. Exactly. They all work. So I believe that Apple believes its research money is best put into creating things that they could put into as many products as possible. So maybe I have a hard time imagining a one-to-one mapping of car technology being used for personal collision avoidance, but nonetheless, the sort of breakthroughs you need in image processing, the sort of AI models that you would need to build with a much more complicated rig that you could then compress down and put the model itself into a more portable thing. And that's absolutely spot on as far as I'm concerned.
I am going to guess that what's really happening here, and maybe why Dan Riccio is moving over to this division, if that's where he's going, is that this is a really tough engineering problem. One of the things Gurman says is the initial versions that included fans and heavy-duty processors caused neck strain, and they were concerned about that. If you have a headset, you can't lift. Well,
there was a lawsuit. Remember, there was in the court documents. There was a lawsuit of a tester who got injured. Who did get injured in the neck testing
so
one of the headsets.
I'm going to guess. We know Apple throws a lot of spaghetti against the wall. Not all of it sticks. A lot of it probably doesn't stick. And I'm going to guess this is not yet a releasable product. That it may never be released. People calm down. Yeah. I think one of the reasons.
iPod phone.
Yeah, one of the reasons there is a lot of ferment around this is because for a while Tim Cook was saying augmented reality a lot. Has he calmed down on that?
No, but it's not like a product. Like when he says augmented reality and when he says autonomous movement, he's talking about like
stuff
like
they already
devices
have.
having displays.
Yeah.
It's like an iPhone has a display, an iPad has a display. Display is not a product. It's just one of the technologies that are going to enable a whole generation of products. And they very much see AR and VR as next generation display technologies like mini LED and micro LED,
but not necessarily headsets. And I think so. It's we're in that same cycle we were with the Apple television set, where we spent hours speculating on something that never was going to be released. And they
built at least 2 prototypes, so I'm guessing Johnny Ive uses them every Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl.
If you can get an invite to Johnny's house for the Super Bowl. Or,
they're 720p, 60 hertz, but still, the case on that, the bezels are
beautiful. It's beautiful.
There's virtually no bezel.
There's no
end,
bezels,
right?
And you can lick it.
Inverse bezels. Well, the screen is bigger than the casing.
I think like there's enough to this that there's definitely something interesting happening. And like I said, like, in 3 or 4 or 5 years, like we'll look back and go, oh, like all of this makes sense now. But yeah, it really will be a hard engineering problem. And especially like all the basic stuff that we've seen with other, like auto driving vehicles already, like the basic processing of like, swerving out of the way and prioritizing how you avoid having something escalate into a much larger issue very quickly. There are a lot of those things that a person can do very easily that so far, like the AI piece of it has utterly failed at. So I think there's a certain amount of...
That's kind of what
like
you were
said,
saying
like,
at the beginning, really.
Yeah, like there's stuff that Apple tries that doesn't go anywhere, that isn't going to do anything, but they learn something from it and then take that forward. And so, like Renee was saying, it's not that Apple necessarily thinks that AR itself is the way, but they think that, democratizing AR, turning it into something lots of people can use, lots of super creative people with lots of ideas for how AR could be useful in a particular way or fun in a particular way. Like, that's why we keep seeing it, like at WWDC every year when they talk about the improvements that have been made. And, now you can play with pretend Lego on your desk just by pointing your iPhone at it or whatever. Like, that's where those things are coming from, is they're democratizing all of that so that somebody has a really good idea and can turn that into something great. It's the same thing we saw with the iPad. It's the same thing we saw with the iPhone. And, and like with the watch and stuff, like increasing the utility of what Apple's doing, helping reel more people into the ecosystem, like all of that is really smart business. So I'm not surprised in the least they're trying all kinds of stuff to get at it. And I think whatever we get from them is going to be really interesting, even if it's not something that I personally want to take into my life immediately. I'm definitely going to be interested in what it is and how it's going to kick the door open for other people.
Well, but again, it also may be nothing that ever is released. That
it could be. It could go on the
may
shelf
never
next
get
to
it
that 5G
any more than you got
MacBook Air.
any more than you got an Apple television set or a 5G MacBook Air.
Everyone is going to do the CSI Miami video for it. They're going to put it on and go, yeah, and then they're going to do their video.
Right.
And I'm just going to want to turn the TV off.
Yeah. So just a reasonable caution. Any company like Apple, especially Apple, because they have a big R&D budget now and they have a lot of money to spend, is going to be looking for what's next. And it doesn't necessarily mean any of that emerges from the lab.
1,000 no's for every yes means you got to make 1,000
Also,
products to say no to.
Also remember that when Apple released the iPhone, everybody knew that they were probably imminently going to be releasing an iPhone. Everybody was 99% sure was going to happen during the keynote they delivered it by. I don't think anybody correctly predicted the shape and the form of the phone that they were going to release. So there's so many variables here. This is where it's I'm not usually like someone who enjoys rumors, because my point of view is that, look, you're making a rumor about something we're actually going to be having in our hands in 8 months. Even Apple doesn't know exactly what features the next phone is going to have. It's kind of a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. But this sort of stuff is really, really fun, because the possibilities for the company like Apple are very, very great. They're not like the things that you see at CES, where it's like, oh, great, so you have a phone with a rolling screen. I'm going to count the days until that becomes an actual shipping working product, because I'm sure you wouldn't show it off just to get press during CES. Apple works very hard to make sure they don't get any press before the magical day. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I guess that's the important caution for all of this. And as I said at the beginning, I have one news story and a lot of rumors around it. And so you've heard
I want to talk about the Black History Month Apple Watch.
We will. Hang on.
Yeah.
We will. Leo. But this would be a good time to take a little tiny, teeny, weeny break. It's great to have Kelly Guimont with us from the Mac Observer and the Mac Observer Daily podcast. And go ahead, have a drink. Go ahead, enjoy. Enjoy. What's in that?
We're good.
What's at the other end of that straw?
It's just water. I'm just drinking water out of my Nifty Blazers cup. So.
Normally, I feel pretty good about my ability to decipher nerd T-shirts, nerd names. You've got me completely thrown. What does your T-shirt say?
My T-shirt says "Beskar Friends." I'm gonna tilt down and
Beskar Friends.
Yeah.
No idea. I'm looking at it. I don't know what I'm seeing. So you win. I'm going to turn over all the cards and give you the $50 because well done. Kylie, it's great to have you. Yeah. Stump the Leo. What's my T-shirt? It's a whole new game show. Andy Anako also here from WGBH in Boston, Anako.com. And, of course, the great Renee Ritchie, eponymously titled YouTube channel, youtube.com/Renee Ritchie. Do you remember we used to talk a lot about PillPack? I really loved PillPack because it was an easy way to get my prescriptions and my vitamins and stuff. Amazon bought them, and now we know what Amazon is doing with PillPack, and I'm so excited about it. It's called Amazon Pharmacy. It is an easy way to get your medication sent to you, prescribed by your doctor, delivered by Amazon. You can get the meds you need without leaving the house. Of course, these days, that's a good thing. One less errand, more safety for you. Amazon Pharmacy is every bit as exciting as PillPack, even more so. It saves you time, delivers your medication directly to your door, so no more waiting in line at the pharmacy. It's really easy. When you first go to amazon.com/TwitRx, and that's our special URL, you can also have your doctor's office send your next prescription straight to Amazon Pharmacy. They can coordinate with your doctor to ensure that everything's accurate. That's important, and you're getting what you need. There was a lot of very cool technology PillPack invented for that precise reason. By the way, I know people always ask, can I use my insurance? Yep. Amazon Pharmacy works with most insurance plans nationwide. And here's a little benefit for Amazon Prime members, and who isn't these days. Free 2-day delivery. You'll also save on prescription medication if you're paying without insurance. Clear, understandable pricing. In fact, I don't know if you've filled a prescription at a pharmacy lately, but you don't usually know the price of your medication until you fill the prescription, and then you get the bill. But Amazon Pharmacy will show you right up front your insurance copay, the price without insurance, so you can make the right decision. And of course, I absolutely want to emphasize your medical information is totally protected. The law requires it, and of course, Amazon is very on top of this. They'll never share your personal health data outside their pharmacy. And yes, it's a pharmacy, a real pharmacy. That means you can speak with a pharmacist. Their pharmacist's on duty 24/7. So if you have a question, you need some advice, it's always good, I think, especially with a new medication, to talk to the pharmacist. Take advantage of that. That's all part of the great service. And remember, Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance, and you get free 2-day delivery. I think this is exciting. Amazon.com/TwitRx. I think this is a real convenience. I got to say, I've been having medication mailed to me instead of going to the pharmacy now for a little while, and man, I'll never go to the pharmacy again. Amazon.com/TwitRx. Do I need to spell Amazon? They think so. I don't think so. But they said, please spell it out. AMAZON. You know how to spell that? Amazon.com/TwitRx. And you could find the pharmacy without using that special URL, but this goes right to the pharmacy. And by the way, you help us when you use that. Thank you, Amazon, for your support of Mac Break Weekly. Amazon.com/TwitRx. So usually Apple does their quarterly results on Tuesdays, which means we have to sign off early and get everybody out there. It's tomorrow, not today.
There's no one left to transcript, though, Leo, so we're fine now.
Oh, God, that's right.
They took
Serenity,
used to be
they
Lori.
took
Micah, they took Lori.
Is there anybody left to do that?
There's people left there, but nobody involved with us anymore.
Oh, we don't even know. It's a mystery typist. I think the stock market is excited. This is normally it's the fourth calendar quarter, but it's Apple's first quarter, the last quarter of the year, October, November, December. And of course, it's always Apple's big quarter because that's when the new iPhones come out. It's not just the new iPhones this
year
time.
It's when all the iPhones
everything.
only came out in Q1 this year. So it is going to be way more iPhone-y than it even usually.
3 Macs with Apple Silicon, which must be selling well. The new HomePod Mini, I bought 5 of them, so I know personally I've helped.
Apple says thank you.
You know what? I thought I like this intercom feature. I like the follow feature. I watched carefully. Micah Sargent did a head-to-head review of all $300 speakers, and he said that the AirPods or the HomePod Mini sounds great. He was right, especially for what I use it for, which is mostly Audible books. I love AirPlay going right into it. Makes it very easy. So I bought 5 of them. I have a stereo pair in the bedroom, and then I have them throughout the house so they can, as I'm listening to my book, they can follow me. I just think this is a great product. I wasn't a big fan of the HomePods. We had 2, but the Mini's actually pretty cool. The AirPods Max, that's what you're wearing. Your Geordie glasses / headphones. I doubt they sold a lot of those at that price, but who knows?
They sold all they could.
They sold all they could. That's right. That's a good point.
People are still going to wait another couple of months to get them if they ordered them when they went live, because I thought the date slipped to March immediately.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I couldn't buy it if I wanted to. I have to wait till March. The iPad Air, the redesigned iPad Air. And let's not forget, in services, they introduced Apple One. Fitness Plus was added to that. So I expect to see a big bump in services. The stock market...
It's going to be massive.
Yeah, the stock market and analysts are predicting a $100 billion revenue quarter, which would be a record for Apple. The best they did was first quarter last year, which was $91.8 billion.
You're going to be so tired of
winning. Dieter Bohn back in 2008, just going, will Apple ever sell 10 million iPhones? Will they ever sell 10 million iPhones? And we were debating this just back in 2008.
Remember when everybody first got a look at the OG iPhone, people went, who on earth is going to carry around a phone that big?
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer said that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so expensive.
Lots of people said that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the black and the Palm Pilot, Ed Colligan, the Palm Pilot guy. Yeah. So many people misunderstood the impact of the iPhone.
You can get caught in a trap by being like the beard stroking fantasist of, yes, but the potential of this technology, what you're seeing what it is now, I'm seeing what it could be. But with the iPhone, that was the case of you really did have to think about, okay, here's a phone that doesn't have a keyboard, doesn't do cut, copy, paste, doesn't have apps, is stuck on slower bandwidth, is only locked to one provider, is super expensive.
Do we think the iPhone?
I heard a really good I heard a really good breakdown of why it worked. And one of the key points that I never really thought about was that because it was an iPod. And none of the other phones back then could compete with an iPod. So the idea of you get your iPod, but it can do all these other phone things, was just transformative for people. And it built on the entire economy that Apple had created with iTunes and the iPod. And it took other companies years to get just music into their solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you think the 12? Well, we'll know, I guess. I mean, they don't break out sales figures anymore. But do you think the 12 was a success?
12 Pro is overperforming. They're moving capacity from the Mini to the Pro to the 12, which I think everybody thought no one's going to get the 12 Pro. They'll go for the Max. Maybe they'll go for the Mini or their 12 is so close to the Pro they'll save a couple $100. But it looks like, which was my thought in the beginning, that the 12 Pro is so close to the 12 that they're just throwing in a couple extra $100 to get the other camera, and it's overperforming compared to market estimates.
Yeah,
that's what I did. Like I went 12. I got the 12 Pro because I fell in love with the 11 Pro, and even after having the 11 Pro for a year and putting the low light camera through its paces on the Pro, I couldn't go back. Like I really wanted the Mini and realized that the camera in the 12 Pro is not the camera in the Mini, so I got the Pro.
Oh, that's interesting. So you like the size of the Mini, but the Mini it seems to be lagging a little bit.
Because the Mini is compatible with this size of a hand.
Yeah. Little hands.
But the Mini's
big
split
heart.
a market. Like the original SE was both smaller and less expensive. And now you have smaller with the new SE you have smaller with the Mini and less expensive with the new SE. And so each of them are only appealing to half the market of the original.
In past years, the standard, like the iPhone 12, the iPhone 11, those would be the best sellers. But you think the Pro this year is bigger, do you think?
I think it'll split more. I think like a lot of people, again, tech Twitter and tech YouTube nerds are really bad at predicting the market because they just assume that they're the majority. Everyone is their own majority market.
They have no idea what people are doing.
Right.
Like that, I see a lot of short-sightedness in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it was the 10R and then it was the 11. Those are the best-selling phones of those respective years. And I think even though the 12 Pro is overperforming, I think the 12 is still going to
be
keep
the
that.
One. That's the one.
It's a lot of value at a lower price.
And that's also the one the carriers advertise. They clearly, and I think the carriers have a lot of information about what people want. They clearly feel like the 12 is the sweet spot again this year. We won't know. We won't get a breakdown, right? There's no way to.
It could be the 11. I mean, like the 10R was performing marvelously last year. So
really
the 11
well.
might still be performing really well this
year.
So
the 11 might be the best seller still.
The 11 Pro this year could be the hotness because it'll still come in.
How funny.
It's still an amazing camera and it'll still come in under 12 Pro prices. So if you still pink puffy heart those curved sides on the iPhone and that's your jam, then there you go. Like that's really going to be, I think, a far more important deciding factor than a lot of people think is like the slightly less old school curved sides or the honest to God old school of the slab, the 90-degree straight edges on the 12, which I personally love very much. So. And
the Pro has that extra lens. That's the reason you got a Kelly the better camera.
It is. The computational photography piece of it is a little bit higher powered than on the 12, and I really like that. And
if they had a
bought
Mini,
it in a bit of optimism that I'm going to get to go places again with a 12,
take pictures of more than
to go take
your cat.
Awesome pictures at Disneyland in low lit rides and not need a flash, and it's going to be great. So I am looking forward to doing that again. So I'm really hopeful that because I didn't really get to go. I got to go one place with my 11 Pro, and then the world fell apart. And so I'm looking forward to getting to take my 12 Pro somewhere fun. So.
That sucks.
Yeah. Well, it was Washington, D.C., so it was fun.
Oh, well, that's good.
I did take like a load of pictures while I was there. But I'm looking forward to getting to go to Disneyland because I do have like a few pictures I like to take that I've taken with like every phone. Because it gets a little bit better at low light every time. So I have like the evolution of, that one spot and that one ride. Over time through all of Apple's iPhones.
Careful of the selfies in the house chamber, though. You might want to not do that this time around.
I'll keep that in mind.
If you're sitting in Nancy Pelosi's seat, I'd stay away from the selfies. It's just a thought, just a thought.
Well, any congressperson's seat for that.
Anywhere. Okay. If you're going through the desks, maybe not video it.
you're committing acts of treason, do not take selfies. Do not post selfies.
Actually, if you are, please take selfies. Take them all. Take as many as you can.
Did you see they paused something? I forget what it was, but they paused something on the dating apps because people were honeypotting all of the offenders.
Bumblebee.
I saw you.
They took,
You're really hot.
Bumble took political affiliation out because a bunch of ladies set their affiliation to right wing and had dudes immediately start swarming them, bragging on all the stuff they did.
Honeypot. It worked. They're not the smartest people in the world, I'm finding. I guess if you dress up with buffalo horns and chaps.
I don't love shamans, though, but there was that great scene in The West Wing where the president says, "How did you find these people?" And he says, "Sir, swear to God, I've been doing this job for a long time, and there is no amount of money or manpower that beats a criminal just being stupid."
Yeah,
a criminal stupidity.
I've actually been told that by the Secret Service many years ago. Patrick Norton and I went to the Secret Service to talk to them about, I don't know what we were able to tell them, but about computers or something, and passwords and encryption. And that's exactly what they said. Is that, most of the time they just give us the password. They say here.
Like a grammaton cleric, you ask them for it.
It's not that hard.
These are not the people who bravely go to prison and then spend 10 years writing the manifesto. These are the people like plea bargain. Louis, he's the guy who got me. He gave me the lift. And
they are not experts on game theory in The Prisoner's Dilemma. Let's put it that way.
But they are at selfies.
Yeah, very good at selfies. So is there anything to think about for tomorrow that we should be looking for? I'm going to be looking at services. I expect services to be a very big part of their revenue. What was it, 13 billion last time? Maybe 14 or 15 billion? It's really been coming on strong, and that's where Apple's been putting a lot of the, I don't want to say it, wood behind their arrows. Is that what they?
I wonder if they're going to address it any different. I can't imagine that putting a lot of developers into the $1 million or less program is going to have a material impact on their earnings, because most of the people over that, like, it's all those in-app transaction games that make the vast majority. I think it's 5% of developers who are in this new 15% club. But I wonder if they'll talk about that at all, just as a community builder, good feeling sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing I was wondering about, was like the warm fuzzies. They want to try and take all the warm fuzzies from that they can get. And I think that's probably something will get announced. And probably fitness. I'm curious what Fitness Plus looks like. I'm sure they'll talk about the bundles, but I would like to know if they tell us anything about actual signups for fitness. And maybe a little bit of sunlight into why nobody has to pay for TV Plus.
Yeah.
Through April now, right?
We're not making any shows.
July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw something like 70 or 80%. 70 or 80% of TV Plus users are not paying for it.
Yeah.
That's not a good revenue model. But again, this is the beauty of being Apple. Right. You don't have to make money on it yet.
But they also keep giving it away. Like, it was until February, which sort of made sense because, like, then all the bundle stuff kind of came into alignment. So it made sense if it was only $5 a month, like, we'll eat it for another couple months so everybody signs up for their tier of Apple One and make it all make sense. And then now it's July and we don't know why.
Well,
I'm an idiot because I bought Apple One Plus. So I'm paying for something I didn't have to pay for, I guess.
But you are the 20%, Leo.
Yeah. That's right. I'm in the 20%er. I have to get a T-shirt. But I do you think that's what's going on? Like, Apple's just, because I would guess there's a lot of people saying, well, I'm not going to sign up for Apple One Plus because I'm getting TV Plus free, so I'm going to wait till that ends. So that would be a negative consequence of deferring it.
Well, and that's why I wonder, like, it seems like that's going to be that would be the service. TV Plus and Arcade are the two that it's easiest for Apple to like eat the cost on. Like, those can be the loss leaders. Like, if you sign up for the bundle, you get TV Plus for free, or if you sign up for the bundle, you get Arcade for free. And for a lot of people, that may be the thing that signs them. Like, I'm paying the same amount of money, but I get a free thing, so I'm there. And I don't think there's a lot of people who would necessarily go out of their way to pay for it itself. So, but the thing that I'm wondering about is what's going to make it compelling in July, like how they're going to, it gets extended, but then how do you convince people now that you've had it for a year and a half at that point that it's really time for you to start paying for it, whether it's as part of a bundle or not. Like, I get why the news stuff is never the thing that they can sort of subsidize. Like, that's going to always be $10 a month, no matter what. So, these are the ones that they can sort of give away. And so that's why, that is why they were free for a year to begin with, was sort of to reel everybody in. But now I don't know how they're going to convert anybody like me who looks at it, like, I'm probably likely to go, well, it's $5 a month, I'll just pay it. But I don't know how they're going to get a lot of people who are paying for loads and loads of other services, and now paying more for all of the Plus services and Hulu and Netflix and Prime Video. And, like, now you're paying more than you were paying for cable. So, like, this, the first stuff to make the cut's going to be the things that you're not necessarily into. And I don't know how they're generating a huge bunch of fans on a lot of these.
Because you could take a walk with Dolly Parton. That's how.
No, I can do that in Fitness Plus, and I don't have I signed up for Fitness Plus, and I don't have a bundle.
Right.
And I can still, so I can, I'm walking 9 to 5 with 9
to.
Oh, yes.
You're going to slowly be doing, you're going to get you. You're going to be doing the bundle eventually, don't you think?
I paid for Fitness Plus for a year, so it's going to be next January before they get to me.
You don't buy iCloud storage? You don't?
My iCloud storage is like $1 a month, and then because I only need a little. And then
I know why.
$99 renewal on Apple Music is tough to beat.
It doesn't make sense it makes a lot more sense if you have a family.
Yes.
Because I'm getting 5 accounts, and
right.
There's 3 of us at home, but my mom is on my family plan. My adult kids are on my family plan. Because that's a great value.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Even if I was sharing with Mr. Kelly, you wouldn't it still doesn't quite pencil out.
Yeah. So the Walking with Dolly Parton is a new feature in Fitness Plus. They're going to do walks. And at first I was all excited. Maybe they'd put podcasts in this. But really what it is, it's going to be like celebrities. Walk with Shawn Mendes. Walk with Dolly Parton. This is called the Time.
Not all celebrities. I think they just wanted to get attention. The thing for me that I found, what I didn't expect is I thought it would be podcasts or like audiobooks.
Yeah.
But so far, all of them are actually walking and talking to you about walking.
They're actually walking?
Like Shawn Mendes say hey to people. Yeah. So it's like, it's meant like they're really walking with you.
That's really interesting.
Which like caused a bunch of cognitive dissonance with me when I first heard it.
Oh, I haven't tried it yet.
It's odd. Yeah.
That's a really cool. Get to walk with Dolly Parton. So she's walking along. Is she a little out of breath? Stories.
Yeah, some of them are hiking. Some of them are just walking locally. Some of them are hiking. They're out of breath. They don't answer. Like, I thought it'd be like, once they're walking with me, can we have a conversation? No.
They don't
but
respond.
It's like someone's walking ahead of you, just talking, like on a city tour or something.
Yeah. Oh, this is wild.
It would really hurt me bad if a 70-something-year-old woman in heels were able to outwalk me. I was still enjoy listening to Dolly Parton. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like she probably can.
More energy. Yeah.
So different people have different lengths. Dolly Parton is a 25-minute walk. Draymond Green of the Warriors is 33. Is a basketball player. Is a 33-minute walk. Who's Uzo Aduba?
She's on Orange is the New Black.
I recognize her now.
Where a lot of people might know her from.
Yeah. She's all dressed up now. If she were in an orange jumpsuit, I'd recognize her right away. 39 minutes. So she's the walking queen. Shawn Mendes, of course, he can only do 28 minutes. Generation Z, and but you're going to have other people to walk with you. I'd like to do
once a week until all the way through April. I think so far they've committed to, and they said some of them may not be well known. I think they front loaded it with some celebrities.
Oh, but imagine! I mean, think who you could take walks with, physicists and.
I want Tim Cook because he's a hiker. I would love to just listen to Tim Cook talk about stuff for an hour while he's hiking.
Oh, I have to start listening.
Why would you not start with that? Like, why was he like him and Dolly Parton? And I'm good for a while. Like, that would be fine.
I would. Yeah. Now that's a YouTube channel I would definitely support on Patreon if it's just Tim Cook and somebody just taking a hike together, or just Tim Cook and Dolly Parton every single episode.
Yeah.
Like I'd be into that. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And I'm sad I'll never listen to all of them because I'm from earlier in the show, I'm a huge Blazers fan, and I could care less what Draymond Green has to say.
You don't have to listen to Draymond. It's okay.
No.
I will.
Call me when they get Damian Lillard to walk with me.
Okay.
And
They
I will
might.
walk with Damian Lillard anywhere Damian Lillard wants to walk because Dame Dolla's where it's at. Thank you.
And by the way, this doesn't just sell Apple watches, but you need Bluetooth headphones. You need AirPods to do this, right?
Just Bluetooth headphones.
It doesn't have to be Apple's.
Yeah.
No. Just wireless headphones that will connect to your watch. As Andrew pointed out when we talked about it on Daily Observations, there's no headphone jack on your watch.
Yeah,
so you have to have wireless headphones.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it doesn't have to be AirPods. So I can put my because I like to walk with the aftershocks because then I can hear what's going on.
Aftershocks are awesome.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly has a pair, and he also likes them for hiking.
Right. Yeah, because you can hear what's going on. So I'm going to be listening to Dolly. I don't care if she doesn't answer. I'm talking to her, Renee. I don't care. And
well, that's what it'd be like in real life anyway. We'd be talking and she would just be walking.
She'd just keep walking. You know, I walk with my wife, and Lisa, I don't know how she does it because she's shorter than me, but her stride is somehow much longer than me. And so it's exactly like walking with Lisa. She's 10 feet ahead of me talking. And I'm just going, I'm out of breath anyway. I can't.
Lisa has intent.
Does Mr.
Like that's
Guimont
mind
walk
power, Lisa.
faster or slower than you, Kelly?
He is taller than me, and I always had to walk faster to keep up with people. So I think Lisa and I are in the same camp with that.
I think women walk faster.
You learn to take longer steps. Like your stride is a little longer than it might be naturally because you have to keep up with taller people.
That explains it.
I've always been that person.
That explains it.
I can zip off out, to do what I need to do.
I'm a stroller. I'm not a huffer. I stroll.
I like to stroll,
I'm a
but
stroller.
if I need to, I can get after it.
I'm actually fairly well known for my leisurely pace.
There's a reason that the word Kelly Dally is a word that exists in my house.
Kelly Dally. I love it. Let's Kelly Dally.
Is it a constitutional, Leo? Are you out for your constitutional?
I'm out for I'm that guy.
Exactly.
Your promenade?
Yeah, my promenade.
My dodge is I take a camera with me, and every time I get really, really tired, I say, oh, that's a really interesting bush. I think I'll look at the way it's framed against the clouds. I think I'll stop here and lay down for the lower angle, for the dramatic lower angle. Yeah. But at least I'm outside. I
never take a walk with a photographer because you'll never get anywhere. It's the slowest process. I 7 years ago took a trip to Tasmania in Australia with 10 very famous, well-known photographers. I was kind of their mascot. And we drove across Tasmania, but it took us a long time because every 5 miles it's a cow. And we all have to jump out of the car, take 100 pictures of the cow, jump back in the car. It was not a good.
I spent a really great day in London with Chris Breen. And we took a long walk.
Yeah.
We took I'm worse. We took a long walk through Hampstead Heath. I was just looking at my pictures. This was like 10 years ago, and I'm looking at my pictures, and so many of them are like a really great. I have a great photo of like a pathway with like Chris Breen's back like way in the distance, or I've got a great of a pond, and there's where Chris Breen like stopped waiting for me and like kept going on. So yeah. that is an issue.
There's a lot there. This is interesting. There really is a lot of potential. I think this is kind of clever of Apple. It isn't podcasts. It's not audiobooks. It's actual walking with people you would like to walk with. Do you think that maybe they could do time to have lunch and have this could be a whole new series for Apple of hanging out with
Gary V, and you wouldn't be able to get a bite in edgewise.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You eat, I'll talk. It's perfect.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be great if this became a publishing platform that someone who's not famous, but they live in Boston, and here's their walking, or here's
Andy,
a walk they really like.
I would love to do that with you. Right. Lisa was talking about your tour of the Boston Public Library. Next time I'm out there, I'm going with you.
Absolutely.
And that would be a perfect example.
But I would see anytime I'd go to another city, I would say who has some really interesting walks that would get me out of the hotel, or even just again in Boston, there are walks that I'm focused on,
right?
But there are walks that I wouldn't be focused on. So it's great to have, if you're a fan of who isn't a fan of Dolly Parton, but it's great to have someone that a celebrity whose voice you really like. But then there's the people that, hey, look, all I know is this really, really, really great path. It goes through this piece of conservation land. Now you're going to to think this is a dirt gravel driveway to a private house, but it isn't. It's actually the trailhead, and it's public.
Oh man, I really want to take a walk
really
now. I'm gonna do this tonight. This is great.
Yeah, it would be awesome if there were local ones that you could do, like where you could find like, here's 25 minutes through Forest Park in Portland.
Wouldn't that be
with
cool?
Kelly. Or
maybe they will do that.
Getting to go through the library with Andy or something.
I hope
like that.
Apple.
Like, that would be awesome.
I hope Apple does that. That's a great idea. And there's a GPS in the watch, so you could totally have it be points of interest. Right? Yeah. I mean, the watch knows where you are, right?
Or if it just gives you a tone in your headset that says, "Oh, by the way, if you want to stop and check your phone, there's something interesting and there's some content if you want to stop."
Well, there already is that for the
if you want an excuse to stop. Yeah,
there are these great GPS guides for the iPhone and actually for Android too. I use them in Hawaii. Where you put it on the car and you start driving, and that's exactly what the guy says. It's like some old guy in the back seat is really kind of garrulous. It's, if you'd like to see the waterfalls, turn left here, and then he tells you stories on the way. But they were called, what were they called? I can't remember. But there's a couple of companies that make these, and they're really great because it is like having a tour guide in the car with you, but on a walk. I'm excited now. I'm really excited. I can't wait. Someone
in the chat said walking TED Talk, and I only caught it out of the corner of my eye. And then I was like, wait, I can take a walk with Ted Lasso. And then I was really excited about that too.
Maybe Ted Lasso.
The thing is, if it's a walking TED Talk, you have to make sure you're wearing like your really, really tall like rubber boots, because the BS is probably really thick on that.
It's gonna be high. Yeah.
Zing.
But Ted Lasso, that would be fun. I would totally go take a walk with Ted Lasso. That would be great. That would totally be a good time. Yeah.
All right, let's take a little break. The iOS 14.4 is out. We'll talk about what that is. Before we take a break, is there anything else to say about the quarterly results tomorrow? It's just going to be it's going to be a good quarter. It
so
always
much
is.
Money.
Yeah, so much money.
I'm just all I was going to say was that I'm really, like Kelly said, I'm really interested to see what they say about Apple TV Plus, but what their goal is, whether the extension of the freebie is largely due to production being shut down and realizing they're not going to have a lot of product to put into the channel, and also what they consider a win for this channel is going to be. What is the success for this channel at any given point in time? And these it sounds like boring financial results, but this is always fun because there's only a couple times a year where a CEO is bound by law that they could be punished severely if they say anything that could be misconstrued as a lie, and it's these calls that are part of it, because this is guidance for investors. So if they say that, oh yes, well we're building an Apple car and we'll definitely ship it by the end of the year, okay, there are problems if they don't ship it. So
you can only do that if you're Elon Musk.
Exactly. And there are downsides to being Elon Musk that will supersede being able to say stuff like that. So don't worry about it.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Did they send out? When did they tell people it could go through July, Kelly? Did that just happen?
Over the last week or so, I think people have started getting emails.
Oh man,
we saw reports of it that it had been extended. I think late last week.
I feel like
that
such
it was going to be July.
I've been paying for it.
Yeah.
I'm paying
can't make
for
enough
it
content.
I watched Servant. The second season of Servant's coming out. I like that. I hope they do another season of Ted Lasso.
There are 3 total. They've already said
they've ordered them.
There's 3 seasons. Yeah. Second season just started filming a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, good.
And I don't know how they're managing that, but they are. And then there's a 3rd season officially confirmed.
I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. The Union magazine came out and said lights, camera, safety. So they're doing a lot because they want to get back in production. I mean that means that's a lot of people out of work, not just the people in front of the camera, but there's hundreds of people behind the camera, from craft people to the gaffers to the DPs.
You want to make Tom Cruise angry again.
They are not working, and and the writers, and they're all not working. And of course the demand is high from the streamers.
Yeah,
we need more content. So. And I think they're doing it fairly safely. My favorite anecdote about this is the soap operas went back to work, and you can shoot it so that you wear a mask until you're on camera, and then you take it off. You do your scene, and then they do the reverses, and people put their masks on and take it off. The only problem is in the soap operas there's love scenes. So what they've been doing, I didn't realize this, they've been bringing in the actor's spouse or significant other to play the love scene, and they just shoot her from the back or him from the back, so you don't know. It's not the character. It's there, but apparently it works. So they're just
now they're going to want to do that forever. They're like, we could have done this the whole time.
I don't want to kiss my wife. Can I kiss the actress? No, well, that would just be
the problem
wrong.
with it, though. At least for me, as a person who watches a soap opera.
Oh, you do?
I do. I watch one. I watch Days of Our Lives.
Have you seen what it looks like? Does it look weird?
So far, no. But I also know that they were like, there hasn't necessarily been a whole lot of Days of Our Lives that I'm seeing now that they've been shooting in the pandemic.
Okay.
Because there was a point where they were so far in it, they had like nearly a year's worth of episodes banked already.
Jeez.
And so they like let everybody go for 2 or 3 months as a cost saving measure because they weren't filming and they were so far out in advance. So it's very weird. Like, Days of Our Lives is known for its unrealistic storylines. There was a point where there was somebody possessed by Satan. There's people they've killed off a half a dozen times who just keep popping back up like a bad penny. And like, I get that. But the weirdest thing I have ever seen on Days of Our Lives is when I watch it now today, and nobody's wearing masks, and they all go sit in the town square, and people sit in restaurants that are full, and everybody's next to each other.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, it feels
Even
like
on old content.
It feels like it's science fiction, but it's a soap opera.
You can't do
and
that.
It's very
Put on your
bizarre.
mask. No, every time I'm watching a show, I will look and see. I'll go and I'll literally look it up. When did they film this? But we're getting to the point, by the way, where stuff was filmed in March of last year.
Weird.
And we're at the cliff, I think, where you're going to see.
What's really weird for me is that I've been watching a ton of stuff because I have nothing else to do. We're on lockdown.
You and me both,
curfews,
buddy. Yeah.
And I started watching like the CBS streaming stuff, and they have episodes of NCIS where they have like the New Orleans ones. They're all wearing their masks, but then they take them off, and the Los Angeles ones where they shouldn't be within a mile of any other human being, they're not wearing any masks. They talked about it in one episode. They're not wearing any again, and I'm like, I'm so confused. You're literally making this worse. People are going to see your haphazard efforts, which is worse than nothing. Please stop.
Yeah.
And like, is it Law and Order? I think is doing something else too. Like maybe it's SVU or something, where like they bring the suspect into the room and then they take off their masks to talk to the person in the tiny little interrogation room. I'm like, nope.
What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Isn't it funny how in less than a year we've become totally conditioned? Like, where's the mask? I have nightmares where
we're social creatures who've got immense social anxiety about being near our fellow people again.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not joking.
Consequences.
I have to say this because this is such a coincidence. Last night I had a dream, and you ever had those things where the dream works great until something is wrong and you realize, oh, this is just a dream, isn't it? Okay, whatever.
Yes.
I had a dream in which I won't go into the details; they're all boring. But I realized that, oh wait, I don't have a mask. Wait a minute, there is no chance I would be doing this.
Oh my God.
Okay, I must be dreaming.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That happened to me at Disneyland. I dreamt that I was at Disney and couldn't find a mask, and I was terrified.
Yeah. My new thing, the new man spreading.
Is viral load spreading?
No, the new man spreading is wearing your mask, and you see it all the time now. And it's mostly guys like this, below the nose. It's like,
and they're mostly politicians.
It's almost all men. Sports. If you watch football at all, they're all doing this. It's the new. Somebody said that's the new man spreading. Is wearing your mask below your nose.
Yeah,
knock it off.
Fauci is now saying, hey, why not double mask?
I'm double masking.
Yeah. A lot of people do now.
Just as a flex, if nothing else.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Look who has this much of a stockpile of N95s. Yeah.
Well, this thing is a respirator, which means it filters the inbound, but it has a valve for the outbound. So I can't wear this by itself. So I put on my respirator. That's to protect me, and then I put on my N95 to protect you. And I don't look that weird.
There you go.
No. Not anymore.
I feel a lot safer.
Last February you might have, but this February,
you know what? Lisa and I have been talking about this. We're always going to wear masks when we travel from now on, wherever we go. I'm not going to stop, because maybe we'll all get vaccines and we don't have to worry about this. But there's still flus and colds and all sorts of stuff.
If one of the long lasting effects of this after the after the death is over is that we pick up what's a cultural thing that's been happening in other countries where wearing a mask is not only protective, but it says, "Hi, everyone, I have a cold. Please don't get too close to me."
Right.
That I think would be a very positive thing because
totally
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break. I want to talk about 14.4. There's a lot to say about it. It's coming out now. But first, a word from our sponsor. Actually, a word from the people who bring you the show. Literally, CacheFly. It's our CDN, our content distribution network. CacheFly has been around, one of the first CDNs since 1999. We know they work because we've been with them practically since we started. We were having trouble, to be honest, distributing our shows. You know, when Twit came out, there were 250,000 people downloading it pretty much all at once. The website couldn't handle the traffic. For a while, I tried BitTorrenting it. I don't know if you remember in the early days, I would beg people, please seed our show so that others can listen. Matt Levine of CacheFly came along and he said, Leo, let me help. And we have never looked back. CacheFly is amazing. So many features, not just for the podcaster, but for anybody who has content, whether it's apps, streaming audio, streaming video. In fact, they now offer something, this is really great, called ultra low latency streaming. This is not WebRTC, which may have let you down in the past. This is something unique from CacheFly with stream delays less than a second latency. You could play anywhere because it's not Flash. It's an HTML5 player with easy support anywhere. And there's even an SDK, so you can add mobile support, whatever you need. Whether you need your player to run on websites, applications, mobile devices, they've got you covered. Less than 1 second latency is unheard of. We can't do it. The radio station I work for can't do it. Only CacheFly. And by the way, CacheFly is totally global. They're the best CDN if you want global throughput. Over 50 points of presence. And you saw that map earlier, distributed all over the world. If you haven't, go to their website, you'll see it. So on their low latency network, those video streams, they'll be streaming quickly no matter where your viewers are. Every continent. It's infinitely scalable too. So don't worry about being a success. CacheFly's ultra low latency video platform can deliver video to more than 1 million users concurrently. It can even ingest thousands of synchronous streams. And the ingest is reliable. It's designed for transmuxing thousands of streams simultaneously with live failover, RTMP, RTMPS, SRT, and more, ultra-low latency SLDP and HLS streams at the same time. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little geeky because I'm so excited. This is so cool. Get a solution tailored to your needs. Get a custom-built solution. CacheFly will work with you to understand what you need to help you make it work, and it's all built on top of their reliable, robust global network with ingest and delivery wherever you need it. The best support ever, 24/7, every day of the year. They're always there for you. That's been my experience. We just love working with CacheFly. Amazing. Their infrastructure can support more than 1 million concurrent streams. And because of their reliable throughput and scalability, they're 5 times faster than other CDNs. And they're the most reliable, backed by a 100% SLA. That's not nines, baby. That's 100. CacheFly also is doing a great job helping others in need. They're working with World Central Kitchen, one of my favorite organizations. They're feeding people all over the world. This is a tough time, but CacheFly is a good corporate citizen. They also, by the way, pioneered the first Anycast CDN infrastructure in 2002. Their best hop technology automatically finds the fastest route to and from customer origin across their global network of POPs. That gives you maximum performance and reliability. I am a devoted CacheFly user. Just for Twit listeners, CacheFly is giving away a complimentary detailed analysis of your current CDN bill and usage trends. No hard sell. No, they're not going to push you. They just want to help you. So see if you're overpaying 20% or more for your CDN. You'll find out what CacheFly can do for you when you go to twit.cachefly.com. This is really exciting stuff. I know they've been around since 1999, but that doesn't mean they're not on the leading edge of this technology. Twit.cachefly.com. They are real innovators. Thank you, CacheFly, for making all of our shows possible. Twit.cachefly.com. So let's talk 14.4. one reason you're going to want to upgrade, and it is available now for everything, I think, right? iOS, Apple Watch, tvOS. Audio OS. Yes, your HomePods. You can upgrade those. I'll tell you in a second what you'll get if you upgrade those, because the feature that I was just talking about has just come out. But let's talk about the most important reason that you want to do this. 3 active vulnerabilities affecting iPhones and iPads. I guess that's a 0-day. They're being exploited right now. Of course, Apple is always very close-lipped about these security vulnerabilities because they don't want to give the bad guys any ammunition. So we don't know who's exploiting the vulnerabilities, what the consequences are, who has been attacked. Apple said nothing about that. In fact, they gave the individual, this is interesting, they gave the individual who submitted the bug to Apple anonymity, which makes me think it might have been one of the bad guys who felt so bad about this that they said, you know what? I'm sure there's a bounty too. Two of the bugs
worked at Samsung.
Yeah, maybe, or that's the other possibility. 2 of the bugs were found in WebKit. Yeah, but I'm just thinking if it was Google's Project Zero, for instance, no anonymity
they would have blocked
needed.
it a week ago.
Yeah. So the fact that they're giving him anonymity, I think that's interesting. 2 of the bugs are in WebKit. That's, of course, not only the Safari browser engine, but any browser you use, anything that renders web pages on your iPhone or iPad, they're all using WebKit. And the third vulnerability is in the kernel. That's as bad as it gets. There are apparently chain exploits, which are using different vulnerabilities. Apple says, we'll give you details, but not yet. This is, I can't remember a time Apple said actively being exploited. That is as bad as it can get. So, folks, if you, I mean, Apple people are really, often the first to update, but if you haven't updated yet, update now. Update now. Don't know anything more about it. There's some speculation about what it could be, but it's all speculation. Maybe Steve Gibson will be talking about that. We do Security Now next. Okay, that's the bad news. Good news. Your HomePod Mini finally can follow you around. Yay! So tell me about this, Renee, because you probably have already done it. I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's sort of like the first hints we're getting of how Apple's going to use their spatial positioning technology, like the U1, which can do location but also data, and it basically can tell how close you are to your HomePod Mini, and as you get closer, it sort of escalates the share notification, and it gives you like this visual, tactile feeling of moving. I was going to say content, but it's audio back and forth between your iPhone and your HomePod, or suggesting if there's nothing playing right now, suggesting things you might enjoy.
Interesting.
Playing.
Do I have to?
It makes it a much more visceral experience.
Here's a scenario that they demonstrated at WWDC, or was it later? It was in September when they announced the Mini.
Yes,
they had that.
Well, they both,
fake house set up. And the thing is, the thing I'm imagining, and tell me if I can do this, I'm listening to my audiobook in the bedroom. This is, by the way, why I bought the Mini. I'm listening to the audiobook in the bedroom, and I walk out of the bedroom into the kitchen. Does the audiobook automatically transfer, or do I get a notification and I have to press a button?
So these are different things. What this is doing is it's giving you almost like it's basically Handoff, but they're trying to make Handoff a more tactile experience. So this is literally you're playing on your HomePod, but you're going to go out for a walk and you want to continue listening while you're out for a walk. So you just tap your HomePod or bring it close. You don't actually have to tap it. It'll go to your phone, and then you take your phone with you out. To move it to your kitchen, you would just say, "Yo, Jimbo, move audio to kitchen," and then Yo, Jimbo would happily say, "I'll search the web for that, Leo." But then the second time you ask, it'll actually do it.
Didn't they promise that it would do it automatically, or maybe that was my fantasy?
I don't know if they said they would do it automatically, because there's a bunch of use cases where they probably wouldn't be sure if that was your intent, and they try to do intent-based content distribution.
I feel like an idiot. Because the reason I want 5 of them to spread them out throughout the house so I could do my chores and have the book.
You can tell it to put it on in all 5, and you can tell it to follow you. I don't know if it'll follow you without you giving it permission to.
That's disappointing. I misunderstood, I guess. All right.
Or I might be. I just think that you've got to tell it, you've got to tap it, or there's got to always be user intent. Otherwise, it starts to violate their privacy.
Yeah, I guess I understand that. And do you have to have an iPhone with the UWB chip in it? I guess you would.
iPhone 11 or later to do the fancy version, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you got to use the interface like an animal.
Apple is also celebrating, and I guess this is part of the updates, the Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, February, coming up. So we decided to give that to black people. I'm being sarcastic. They're going to have new content, curated features on the App Store, Apple Music, Apple TV app, Apple Books, Apple Podcast, new Apple Map guides, and the Apple Watch Black Unity Connect collection. And that's the one you wanted to talk about, Renee. What is that?
That's just, it's a black version of the Apple Watch. It has a special Black History Month band and a Black History Month face. The face, I believe, is going to be widely available today as part of the update, but you can get this special edition of the watch itself, which is just fire.
Oh, look at that. This is
so nice.
I want to buy a new Apple Watch. Truth, power, solidarity.
Yeah. And
the colors are red, green, and black, which is the color of what flag? The African American flag? I don't know what that is. But I recognize that I've seen the colors before.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is a nice looking watch. So,
and this comes on the heels of their last week's announcement for the Racial Equity and Justice Fund.
Right.
So it's
right.
It's not just a step. It is a consistent, continuing social initiative at Apple.
It's the Pan-African flag, red for the blood that unites people of the African diaspora and was shed for their liberation, black for the people whose existence is affirmed by the flag, and green for the vibrant natural wealth of Africa, the motherland. I'm gonna cry. That is really neat. And apparently, you can't see this in the stills, but the shapes and the colors shift. Not on the band, obviously, but on the watch face. So I can do the watch face, though, right?
I believe
so.
Yeah,
you have a couple of them.
Part of the update.
I think you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you tap on the little arrow, they should show you the other ones.
Right. Nice.
They're all very nice.
Really nice. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's cool.
It's amazing that just shows you something about the Apple Watch, that you can have a watch band as a extension of social outreach. That's the cultural significance of this product that lots of people, including myself, might have been pretty skeptical about a bunch of years ago. That's amazing.
Kelly's showing us her Pride band.
I don't know what you could possibly be referring to, Andy. Aside from the fact that I buy a new watch band from Apple every year, and it's every June, and it's a thing that I like about what they've done with Apple Watch, and like Renee mentioned with the Reggie Fund stuff. The announcement we got last week was just a follow-up to what they had said they were doing. Like, we're gonna earmark all this money and we're gonna do something with it. And they did that like late last year. And then last week we got the announcement of this is what it's going, like, this is what we're doing with it. Here's where it's going. Here's some folks that are getting it. Here's like this other project that part of it's working on. And it was really interesting to see them lay out the nuts and bolts of that the way that they did, very matter-of-factly. Like, we said we were doing this. Here's what we're doing with it. And it's more than just, updating a banner on a website or posting some nice graphic on social media and calling it good. Like, they're backing it up, and it's nice to see.
During Black History
Lisa
Month,
Jackson and the woman who's leading this at Apple, you can see them. I don't want to out anybody, but you can see them on Instagram. They are absolute forces of nature. And I just want to get this watch, put in a pair of AirPods, play Shasha Lasha, and lose the rest of a week to that.
During Black History Month, curator and writer Kimberly Drew will moderate today at Apple sessions led by Black creatives, including Trey Seals, typographer, creative director, filmmaker, and photographer Joshua Kissy, visual artist Sean Wallace. Is this part of their initiative, or is this just, it's interesting because it started slow with Product Red, and it's getting taken up speed. Apple is so committed to being a good corporate citizen in the world, and I think this is really moving and really great. There's a limited edition watch Series 6. We talked about the Black Unity Sport Band. You could get that for your existing watch if you have one. And if you have the new watchOS, the Unity watch face. Apple's also supporting 6 global organizations. I presume some of the revenue from these sales will go to this, the Black Lives Matter Support Fund via the Tides Foundation, the European Network Against Racism, International Institute on Race, Equality, and Human Rights, Leadership Conference Educational Fund, NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and Souls Grown Deep. That's neat.
And it's across so many Apple properties too. Like none of them are a one-off. It's a systematic, planned sort of progression across their entire product line and service line.
I really feel like this is Tim Cook, and this is from the heart for Tim. This is, But I'm sure every employee at Apple is like, yeah, right on. This is great. Really good.
Oh yeah, if you go to Bustle, they have an article up with the people who are leading the initiative, which is Lisa Jackson and Alicia Johnson, who is the program lead for Apple's Racial Equity and Justice Initiative, and they are just amazing people doing an amazing job.
Lisa Jackson, of course, we saw her on the roof. And then in the basement, she's Apple's Vice President of Environment Policy and Social Initiatives. And, of course, the Racial Equity and Justice Initiative is from her, but also, as you mentioned, from Alicia Johnson.
Alicia Johnson,
she's
and
the
they're talking about the entire efforts. Yeah. It's such a team effort.
Yeah. And it's a big effort, like you said, Renee. Like it's across a bunch of different properties and a bunch of different facets of Apple that we're finding this from. That there's, part of this group and part of this group and part of this group, and having to coordinate putting all that stuff together.
Yeah. Cool. What else in 14.4 that we should talk about? Anything else?
I mean, yet more indicators of the still unlaunched AirTags.
Oh, God. Ay.
So we're going to Safari.
That's the me that's at Apple right now, like trolling everybody, like, oh, it's coming.
I do like the rumor, and I don't know if I can credit it because we've heard this over and over again, that the next Apple Watch, Series 7, will do blood sugar measurement.
It's so hard to do. Like Apple was really intent on doing it, and they invested in it. They bought so many companies that said they were on the verge of being able to do it, and they were like, "Yes, we'll just buy this company." They're like, "Oh, turns out not so close." So it seems like something that they want to ship as absolutely quickly as possible, but the technological hurdles are such that Steve Jobs was talking. Like I think Walt Mossberg and Steve Jobs famously talked about this feature, which shows how long Apple's been working on it.
10% of Americans have diabetes. 26 million of them are undiagnosed. I have type 2 diabetes well under control, I'm glad to say. But if I didn't know about it, then I probably wouldn't be well under control. So this is not only the right thing to do, it's a great revenue opportunity. And there's a race to come up with something to measure blood sugar without a pinprick or some invasive thing on your hip or something.
Yeah, Samsung has also have rumors that they're not imminent.
It's hard to do
nearby. Yeah, it's easy to do. It's hard to do in a way that you can actually get approval to actually say that this is useful for the maintenance, a daily maintenance of diabetes. Because you think about the ECG monitor. It's a very limited sort of thing in terms of how it will affect your life. It will simply say, "Oh, we've seen a heart rhythm that seems kind of odd. You might want to." And if people ignored it or if people didn't have it, then it doesn't really affect their life. But if somebody says, if a watch is telling them, "Nope, your blood sugar is perfectly fine. You're great. You're not crashing or anything," and then you do have a problem, that is a death situation. And so it's very analogous to the self-driving car situation, where it's easy to do, it's hard to do in a way that you can actually ship it and it will do exactly what people expect it to do in the package.
So again, upgrade as soon as you can, both your iPhone and iPad, and you might as well upgrade everything else while you're at it. It's upgrade time in the Apple
it's
world.
Upgrade-a-palooza.
M1 Max can, according to 9 to 5 Mac, run a full version of Linux. This is from Corellium, the company Apple sued because they made an emulator. I gather this is some sort of emulator, some sort of virtualization solution. So if you've been, even Linus Torvalds is looking with envy at the M1 processor and saying, "Boy, I wish we could get Linux to run on that." I think that
he was shy about voicing his opinions on the internet.
And I feel the same way. You're stuck running on Intel. The M1 has really changed the world. Even Intel's new CEO, as we mentioned last week, is eyeing Apple. Basically, Intel just lost a race, like decisively, and they're saying we gotta catch up. And it's notoriously hard, by the way, to do that.
Yeah. Well, this is a great example of Apple playing the long game, and I'm talking about 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
I sometimes complain about how Apple holds on to certain dogma that is outdated and holds back the evolution of the product. But one of the dogmas that they have that's been almost since day one is that we build everything. We design the hardware, we design the software, we design the operating system, we do all the APIs for people to write the software for it, and even extending towards now we design the silicon for it. The sort of performance they're getting out of the M1 is the payoff of 20 years of saying you don't get to buy any sort of piece of hardware that runs macOS that you want, because if that were to happen, we wouldn't be able to pull off something like this M1 transition so easily and also make it run so well. On the Windows side of things, they do have an ARM version of Windows. It doesn't work really all that well because it has to work on every single platform. They have reference hardware designs to run it on, but they can't really influence every single hardware manufacturer to build a design that's as comprehensive as what Apple's got. So that's why every time I talk about dogma, there's a good side, there's a bad side, but this is definitely one of the good sides of Apple dogma.
That's always been a Windows problem, though, is lowest common denominator. I mean, always having to run on that. And then, it's a thing that they've always had to contend with.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's what they've always had to contend with, because HP makes one, Toshiba makes one, Samsung makes one, IBM makes one, Dell makes one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then each one of them gets to put their own Windows flavor on it. So you get a slightly different experience on a Toshiba laptop than you do on a Samsung, than you do on a Dell, all the way down the line. So that's always been one of the frustrations of particularly trying to troubleshoot anything on Windows. As an IT person, that's one thing that's really hard, is what version do you have? What driver is it using? Even if it's the same hardware in all of those devices, all of the fine tuning of all of that is a real pain in the neck to try and sort out.
But it's also the strength of the Windows ecosystem. You can get anything, any kind of hardware you want. You want a touchscreen? We can do that. You don't want a touchscreen? We don't have to do that. You want OLED?
Yeah, it's the good and the bad. You can run Windows on anything, but you can run Windows on anything.
Yeah.
But that's the Quebec government, you can pay them to support Windows XP in 2021.
Yeah.
But that was the only reason why I reacted against lowest common denominator. That's often used not as a pejorative, as opposed to just saying, well, this is colored red, which is good if it's a fire engine, bad if it's a dress that you're wearing at someone else's wedding. So lowest common, basically, I would have loved if there are a lot of things I would hate if Apple were run like the Windows ecosystem, but the ability to say, wow, this new laptop that Apple's come out with, I don't like the keyboard, I don't like the ports. Well, then I'll buy something that's kind of like it, but has a much better keyboard.
You can't do that.
There it is. Great.
Yeah.
So that's
you
all
can in the Windows side.
I'm glad that both philosophies are there.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I could get an M1 on a Lenovo. I mean, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
What did you just do? You took a video cable and you plugged it into the computer?
Wait, that's not possible.
What adapter are you using?
Yeah, where's your dongle? You did
internal dongles. It's brand new.
If you watched the wonderful football games on Sunday, you probably saw this ad from Microsoft. It's touting the MacBook Pro versus the Surface. Surface got touchscreen. Mac just got this little tiny touch bar.
Surface Pro has detachable keyboard.
It's so clear that they don't compete with the Mac, not really, because it's a huge hassle to switch operating systems and ecosystems. They compete with other Windows machines because they're trying to show how to do really good Windows machines, but they can't say that because they have a massive OEM ecosystem. So we're left with these awkward, don't worry guys, we're not competing with you, we'll show you, because we'll make an ad showing how much we're not like a Mac instead, and it hurts me every time I watch.
The funniest thing to me is that it looks like they got a younger Marquez Brownlee to host it. They're really going after, this is like the YouTube product review video that they did. Some kid showing the tooth together. They're really going after that YouTube crowd with this one.
That fellow kids vibe.
Fellow kids. Hey, guys. Yeah. I thought he'd say, mash the bell, mash the button when you hit the end of it.
Like and subscribe, Surface Pro.
Yep. It's kind of funny because according to rumors, Apple actually is thinking about dumping the Touch Bar. So maybe they're hitting them while they can't. They still can.
Well, they started doing Surface and I've talked to a bunch of people about this because it's always been this way where they felt like they've had to target Apple just to make the OEMs feel better. And they tried it with the iPod and people are like, yeah, you're not really an iPad. And now they're trying it with the Mac and they're like, yeah, but you're not really a Mac. Why don't you make a commercial showing how much better you are than just a computer? Like have someone go into an airplane, flip it up to watch a movie, flip it down to do some work, flip it around to do something. Show me why the Surface is so great. But they're stuck in this. We gotta pretend we're aiming at Apple customers so people don't get mad at us.
And somebody who's in the market for any kind of full-on laptop is not necessarily going to be in the market for a Surface. Like you were saying, like the difference between a Dell laptop and a Surface machine is going to be a very similar decision tree as to a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro versus a Surface machine. Like, what are the pieces of that you need in order for it to be the thing that fits into your life? Because I know a lot of people who upgraded from a really old laptop, whether it was a Mac or a Windows machine, to an iPad and went to that instead and are very happy.
Right.
So it's hard to figure out who it is they're trying to go up against there. Like, we have this orange and it's not this Apple. I mean, it doesn't hold water.
If you, I always feel bad when I watch videos like the Will It Blend where they take perfectly good gear and they put it in a blender and destroy it. I have kind of the same feeling about this. The President Trump, when he was leaving office, filed his final disclosure forms, 37 pages of gifts that the president received during office, and one of them was a leather bomber jacket from Ford. No. A customized golf club from Boeing. No, not that. Oh, Tim Cook, CEO, Apple, gave him a Mac Pro computer, the first created at the Flex factory in Austin, Texas. Yeah. He didn't give him the high-end one, though. It's only $6,000. It's a base model. I don't see an XDR display.
Have you seen his YouTube videos? He's not doing special.
All it has to do is tweet, and now it doesn't have to even do that.
I really wonder, though, what happened to that? Like, obviously the president didn't use it.
Jared stole that so fast.
Jared has it probably. Yeah.
But there was a former Apple engineer talked about how compare and contrast. He personally was involved in Steve Jobs gifting a MacBook Air to, I think it was Obama.
Yes.
And it came back 1 week later because, no, this is too expensive. We can't accept this as a gift.
Yeah. Well, it actually pales in comparison to the bronze statue depicting flag raising over Iwo Jima, which is valued at $26,000. So,
he turned it into a juice dispenser.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's all at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know.
Coke bubbler into the flag part of it.
I don't know.
It's being used as a cocktail table. They have the very best of Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, and beer on it.
All right, let's. I'll tell you what. I think, unless I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we got everything. There's an interactive Valentine's Day gift guide. If you want to get a little head start on that, Mr. Guimont.
Don't forget,
February 14th. I think that pretty much does it. Let's get ready for our picks of the week. You ready?
Yay.
I think we have to start for picks of the week with our guest today. Ladies first. Kelly Guimont, your pick of the week.
So my pick is actually it's my friend and colleague's podcast over at Mac Observer. Charlotte Henry, who has written a book about being skeptical about the media. It's called Not Buying It. She is, I like to call her the senior UK correspondent. And she has started this show called Media Plus. She's been a media person for a long time. I'm going to
subscribe to this.
So her whole deal is just talking about Apple as a media company, which not a lot of people are doing.
Really
and she's coming from the intersection of like the longtime Apple watchers like Dave Hamilton and Brian Chaffin and myself. We're the folks at Mac Observer. So she comes at it from that perspective, but looking at Apple as a media company. And less about the other business side of what Apple's doing, but like, how does their streaming stuff compete, and how are they doing against some of these other places, and how does their content stack up if they don't have a library, and just talking about Apple in terms of being media as opposed to other things. Full disclosure, she's had me on as a guest. That is not why I'm recommending it. You can skip my episodes and have a really great time listening to her talk to other people. I don't remember who she was recording with, but she's got some real interesting folks that she's spoken with about Apple as media as opposed to Apple as tech. Yeah. And so it's very interesting, and she's just getting started. And so I'm picking it so that she gets some attention, because it's a really interesting idea, and I'm not hearing it from a lot of other people.
You can find it at macobserver.com, or just search for Media Plus on your podcast program. This looks really good. I will absolutely subscribe. She's got some really interesting people. The New York Times' Ben Smith is on to talk about Apple's place in the streaming market. I think that's fascinating. Zoe Kleiman from BBC. So this really, I think this needs to be done. It's nice. That looks great. Thank you for the recommendation, Kelly. Sure. And thank you for recommending something that didn't cost me anything, because, Lori Gill just, I swear. Renee Ritchie, your pick of the week.
So I'm going to do my best to once again represent Alex Lindsay in absentia.
He's going to be here next week. So you can just
steal his thunder.
Do it today. Yeah.
So a while back, he recommended the ATEM Mini, which is a product by Blackmagic. It's a very I'm going to say low Alex priced.
Oh, I loved
video and audio
I have
switcher.
It. Yeah.
So it's so good. And now they have an ATEM Mini ISO. So they made an ATEM Mini, then an ATEM Mini Pro, and now they have an ATEM Mini ISO. And the ISO lets you do local recording on it. So if you were, for example, wanted to film a video in real time, you didn't want to have to shoot multiple cameras, get all that footage, make a compound clip or a multicam clip in Final Cut, go through and cut all the angles. But you're a streamer, maybe you're a game streamer, maybe just a regular streamer, or you just prefer recording live and doing your own switching, like back in the video toaster days. You can use this and not have to worry even about recording all the different cameras, but you can just record on the ISO. And I have it set up to a quick top-down camera, which right now is focusing on my microphone, not on my computer, but that's fine. I'll fix that. So you could quickly, as you're talking, just switch the different camera
But they're all
angles.
recording. You can have all 4 cameras recording simultaneously, so you can re-edit at any point. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I don't use it for that. I just use it for switching angles while I stream. I obviously have to go to manual focus. I'm going to have too many things in too many different layers. But I was watching some people do it, and Justine did a stream where she was live editing Final Cut Pro with like a camera on her keyboard, a camera over on her, a camera on the TV screen, and you could show them all at the same time, or you could show them separately. And I've seen a bunch of people. Epos Vox has done a really good job at showing these things off too. But I just like the idea of being able to sit here and switch these. It's not Crane Cam 3000 quality yet. I'm still working on it. And this is the most expensive of them. You can start with, I think it's $300 for the regular ATEM Mini. But depending on what your needs are, I love that Blackmagic has like the 4K Pocket Cam, but also the 12K Ursa Mini. They seem to be really scaling everything from really, really consumer end to prosumer end now, and you can scale up to sort of or down to meet your needs.
This looks really cool. It automatically creates a DaVinci project file, so you can do it in DaVinci. Wow, it records to USB disks. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of file storage if you're recording up to 5 different inputs simultaneously, but what a
and
great
DaVinci's
idea.
Gotten really good, and it's free. Like the normal version is free, and the expensive version doesn't have that many things that a non-studio customer would want anyway.
This looks like it does everything that the ATEM Mini does, but adds that, which means it has to have a much faster processor because of recording all those streams. Wow, that's really cool. You can even show them all simultaneously. So if you wanted to have, stream all 5 cameras and then later do a cut down. Really neat.
And you can have all your, what you don't see, but I see is I have my 2 front cameras, my down camera, I have my audio volumes, my stop start, my up next, it's really sophisticated.
Wow. Unfortunately, it is also really expensive. You said $1,200 Canadian. Yeah, right. I'm very tempted. Let me just see how much this costs in real money. Oh, it's not as bad as it is in Canadian money.
Okay,
it's $8.95.
Yeah. And again, the entry level one is like, I think $200-$300, and then the next one up is $600. So you
starts at $300, goes to $600 if you want built-in streaming, and then it goes to $900 if you.
And I was watching some people also, they take their iPhone, use the HDMI out, plug that in as one of the sources, and they can use that as a live cam. It works with some Android phones. The Pixel doesn't work. I think the Galaxy phones do work. So depending on whether your phone has HDMI out or not, you can use that as sort of a moving roaming cam. Wow. You can switch back and forth if you want to show your setup or something. Wow. It's really cool stuff.
Burke is building me I got a Pelican case, a little small Pelican case. We found something on YouTube. We'll show it when it's done. But he's building me a Pelican case with the A10 Mini in it, a display, all the power supplies and everything. So you just put it all in the case, you carry it around, and now I can.
Oh, did you?
Now I can shoot.
So a good friend of mine, Dave Wiskus, you might remember him from the Vesper app with John Gruber and Brent. He put up a video today where he has wired a complete Pelican case to charge 3 cameras, all the lights, all the gear. He just plugs the case in, and
I'm not surprised in any way.
Yeah, very cool. Andy Ihnatko, pick of the week.
Leo, I'm here to make you feel good because I myself got Leo'd this month.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so very, very sad news. Mira Furlan passed away last week, who was an amazing actress from Yugoslavia. If you had a fan of Lost, she was on Lost. I got to know her on the Babylon 5 series from the 1990s, and it reminded me of how much I loved Babylon 5, how hard it was to really see it. And I decided that, oh, man, I really want to revisit this. And so I went on and I got like the complete 5-season set on DVD, a cajillion DVDs, which I started. I just finished ripping and transcoding volume 1. I've got 4 more to go. And this is a high recommendation. Two recommendations here. One for Babylon 5, because it's not a franchise. It was bought and launched by a brand new network, a WB, like a syndication network. So it's not like it got bought by Disney or got bought by any other company that then realized what an incredible, great thing that they had, and they continued to promote it. Just sort of like sat there, even though this is one of the greatest television that's ever been made. If you've been burned by Game of Thrones and other series or Lost, where they started out really hot, but then like they kind of forgot what they were doing and they really weren't going anywhere with it. The great thing about Babylon 5 was that almost every episode, except for 2 or 3, were written by J. Michael Straczynski, the series creator. And Joe Straczynski, he wrote the entire series, all 5 seasons, in advance. Like, all the storylines were written. Every character and all their character arcs were written. Before they filmed a single episode, he knew exactly what the last episode was going to be and what they were moving towards. So it's the sort of thing where it'll as a result, it takes a little while to get off the runway because he knows where things are going. So we'll spend the first 12 episodes sort of laying things down. And actually kind of what got me was I remember seeing the first episode when it was first aired and thinking, oh, well, this is just another attempt to do a version of Star Trek. But no, it turns, and then around season 2, I realized that no, he was suckering me in and trying to he knew that I would be familiar with Star Trek, and he was just screwing with me to make sure that all of my expectations would be turned on their head. It was one of the most satisfying TV experiences I've ever had. So again, high recommendation for that. Now, the getting Leo part is that I actually was so excited that I didn't even like bother to cheapskate my way out and find a used copy on eBay. I actually like bought it for new for $70. And a week later, turns out that they've remastered the entire series in HD. And now it's available on, if you got HBO Max, you can stream it for free. It's also available for purchase on iTunes and Amazon. It was a tricky thing because they did shoot it in 35 millimeter. However, the special effects, which were digital special effects, absolutely cutting edge for the day. They didn't 4K didn't
video
exist
toaster.
back then.
Yeah, they were done on an Amiga.
Exactly, video toaster. Yeah. So they did a combination of like upscaling it and then downscaling it back to HD. But I'm okay because they haven't released it. They haven't announced a Blu-ray release date unless I can get my hands on physical media. I'm okay. But again, at least Babylon 5 is the same thing that I thought last week, is that I do not want to be I don't want to be reliant on some other company's servers for my access to one of my favorite science fiction shows of all time. So I did get Leo. Leo'd, but I'm very, very happy to have been Leo'd.
And I happen to be excited about being able to watch it for free on HBO Max. So it works out everywhere. She was the mini bar not mini bar,
Minbari.
Minbari. By the way, there's a reason I said mini bar. It actually is named after an Islamic altar that is sometimes called the mini bar because it looks like a mini bar. So she's the Minbari ambassador, and there she is in her headdress.
She had my favorite line in the show where she said, "There's only one Earth captain who survived encounter with Minbari fleet. He is behind me. You are in front of me."
If you value your lives, be somewhere else.
I'm ashamed to say I haven't watched it, so I guess I have something to look forward to.
So good.
Yeah. Very nice.
I will just button this. I'm sorry. I have to button this up by mentioning that she had to leave the former Yugoslavia because she was one of the most important movie stars and stage actresses of the culture, and then things started to go very, very south, and she was named like a traitor to the country, and people were being sort of incited to, oh, by the way, if we the government don't like her very much, if you want to hassle her or hurt her, by all means go ahead and do so. Here's how to do it.
Please do so.
So she had to flee to America, and J. Michael Straczynski knew of her story, and so a lot of you could tell oftentimes that he would write a scene for Mira Furlan that basically comes down to, my people have broken apart, my people have degenerated, I don't recognize this city that I used to love so much. And you could just see it's heartbreaking when you first see it as a kid, and then when you see it on DVD later on, it's like, oh my God, like I know what the story is, like, oh my God, she's anyway, it's awesome.
Chrissy Hines said it better, and my city is gone, but okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kelly Greenmont, for joining us. It's great to have you from the Mac Observer podcast, TMO Daily, from Westworld Rewind. She's on the Twitter at Verso, VRSO. Anything else you'd like to plug, Kelly?
I don't think so. I think you can occasionally find me over on the Incomparable Network, usually talking about Star Wars, but doing other stuff too.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll have you back soon. I apologize for not having you on in so long. It's great to have you. And your laugh is absolutely
if I promise not to cost you any money with my pick next time, will you have me back sooner?
No, you can cost me money. I didn't kick off Laurie Gill for a longest time.
Or Alex.
Yeah, he cost me the most money. He'll be, by the way, our guest next week in the rotating guest seat. Hide your wallets. Andy Ihnatko is on WGBH in Boston Friday this week.
It was, as of an hour ago, it was going to be Friday. I just got an email saying that our Attorney General Maura Healey wants some time.
Oh boy!
And so I'm sure on Friday you'll be able to hear what she has to think about the shakeups in the executive offices at Apple. But I will be there next week on my usual slot at 1 p.m. on Friday. WGBHnews.org.
That's our lives as tech guys, right, Andy? We're always bumpable, supremely bumpable.
Anyone who has police powers, okay. If she's asking for something,
you give it to her. You give it to her. I can't remember. I flew all the way to New York to do the Today Show, and I can't remember what it was that they bumped me for. It wasn't memorable. And then, kind of as a, I don't know, runner-up prize, they said, "Well, let's do your segment after the show's over. Maybe we'll use it sometime." And they never did. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
all of 2019, I would drive to studios downtown and get all set up for TV hits, and then they go, "Oh, sorry, the president tweeted. We're not going to be doing this now."
Got to stop tweeting, man. Got to stop tweeting. Well, I didn't tweet no more. Thank you, Rene Ritchie. The eponymous Rene Ritchie channel is at youtube.com/Rene Ritchie. He does a wonderful Apple Talk podcast with our good friend Georgia Dow. Anything else you want to plug? Anything new in your life?
I did a big overview of Apple's executive changes over the last 10 years that went up on YouTube today. And yesterday I tried to explain why Apple is going back on the Mac and the way they think about making changes and the difference demands of trying to appeal to a consumer market, but sometimes forgetting you have a very loyal base of customers behind you.
Nice. Well, it's great to have all three of you. Thank you all for joining us. We do Mac Break Weekly Tuesday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific. That's afternoon on the East Coast, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC. The reason I mention those times, you can watch us do it live. It's a behind-the-scenes kind of thing. Our live audio and video streams are at twit.tv/live. If you're watching live, chat live at irc.twit.tv. A great community-run chat room that is so much fun to be in and is often a great asset to us on the show. Scooter X was feeding me links I got the Scooter X news feed. We also make all the shows available for download. Of course, that's what it means to be a podcast. Either at our website, twit.tv/MBW. You can also find us on YouTube. There's a whole YouTube channel for Mac Break Weekly. And if you want, find a podcast application and subscribe. We're on every one of them, and that's probably the easiest way to get it. When you do that, you'll get it automatically the minute it's available. You don't even have to think about it. If you are watching asynchronously on demand, there are two ways you could still interact with us. We have a great forum, www.twit.community, and we have a Mastodon, a very active now Mastodon instance. We're coming up against 1,000 new members, which is really fantastic. That's at twit.social. No charge for either of those. I hang out there on both of them, and some of our hosts do as well, so we'd love to see you there. I think that's it. I think we're done. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Mac Break Weekly. Bye-bye.